Thank you. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you. Have you subscribed? Yes, you. Have you subscribed? You. Yeah, before you go, click. It's free. Click. Just that's it. Have you subscribed? You are laughing. Have you subscribed? Have you subscribed? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, madam. Thank you so much. I can see you. I can see you. We have to get to 100,000 subscribers. This by the end of the year. How are we going to do that if you don't subscribe? Yes, you. Yes, you're about to click off. Why? Have you subscribed? It's free. If you don't, ask your son. Ask your daughter. How to? Just one click. Thank you. Thank you. I see you. Aha. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you. Have you subscribed? Yes, you. Have you subscribed? Hello, my people. LEMFI, the International Money Transfer Service, is here to provide you with a simple and efficient money transfer experience with no fees and the best rate in the industry. If you are in the US, UK, and Canada, LEMFI is here to serve you and help you transfer money to over 21 countries. In all ramifications, they are better than their competitors. We at the Dr. Damages Show are happy to partner with them to satisfy your needs. To that end, anyone who signs up with them using the referral code DOCTOR will get $30 cash back the first time you send $100 or more. From now until July 10th, 2024, LEMFI will enter your name into a raffle draw where you can win an iPhone, Apple Watch, MacBook, gift cards, and others. For an icing on the cake, the first 20 people to use Dr. Damages code DOCTOR will get a signed copy of one of his books, This American Life Safe or Chimamanda, The Adventures of Little Mermaid's African Cousin. Hello, my people. LEMFI, the International Money Transfer Service.
Our heroes past shall never be in vain. To serve with heart and might, one nation bound in freedom, peace and unity. Hey, that's all. Oh, yeah. Arise, O compatriots, Nigeria call obey, to serve our fatherland with love and strength and faith. The labor of our heroes past shall never be in vain. To serve with heart and might, one nation bound in freedom, in freedom.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on your geographical location. Thank you for joining us this day. Again, another wonderful broadcast here that we will be having. Yesterday or 2 days ago, we discussed the issue in respect to Sunday Igawo's action of going to the Parliament, the UK Parliament, seeking for the UK government to recognize the Yoruba nation. And I think we missed the point. Now, we will be looking at it. We acknowledge unfairness going on, and also this is not about tribe or trying to promote tribal bigotry here. But here is the question before us. According to this, define what is a treasonable offense. Any person who levies war against the state in order to intimidate or overawe the president or the governor of a state is guilty of treason and is liable to the punishment of death. If this definition is correct, section 37(1) of the Criminal Code or Criminal Act. So the question here is Sunday Igbo's action yesterday constitute as what? As a treasonable offense? If yes, then it's a serious matter. And why has it not been arrested? I know we are here to talk about the South versus South governors who is responsible for the continued detention of Nnamdi Kanu. But you see, it is the same thing. It is the same thing as it is that Nnamdi Kanu did, so also Sunday Igbo just did yesterday. The link is already on the comment section. For those of you looking for the link, I have sent the link into the comment section. If you wish to join in this conversation, please click on the link and join this conversation. I will be having a co-moderator with me this afternoon, this lovely evening, coming for you from what? From where I am right now. The link is on this section. Many times I've said it here that Nnamdi Kanu's continued detention is not just from the federal government, but also his fellow kinsmen who actually do not want him to be released, allegedly. But I will be joined here by Kenneth, who will be joining me soon, who also will be weighing into this matter. But before then, is Sunday Igbo's action of going to the UK Parliament, seeking for what? For the government, UK government, to recognize the what? The Yoruba nation constitute as a treasonable offense. Kenneth, thank you for joining me. Dan, the man, thank you for joining me. Now, what on the screen there is Section 37, one of the Criminal Code Act, if I'm correct. I just Google it. I don't have my constitution with me, but I believe it's not in the constitution anyway. Any person who levies war against the state in order to intimidate or overhaul the president or the governor of a state is guilty of treason and is liable to punishment of death. So the Igbo's action yesterday or this week, does it constitute as a treasonable offense? Does it not suggest that its action is what is to intimidate the present government? Let's start with that before we go to Nnamdi Kanu. My co-host today this evening is what? Is Kenneth. Well, I will start with you, Kenneth, first.
Okay, talking about Sunday Igbo, right? Igbo. I don't know if I got the spelling of the name correctly. In terms of whether what he has done constitutes treasonable felony or not is a very big question that we need to answer sincerely, because Nigeria, as it is today, we all know that there is something they call freedom for right for what they call it referendum, right? So if you have a right for referendum in Nigeria, and I think this is my personal opinion, and I think what Sunday Igboho and his people are asking for is just that right for self-determination or referendum, as you may call it. But on the side of the government, they may be seeing it as a treason or a treasonable offense. The question here is, what does the Constitution state? Is the Constitution saying that what he did is indeed a treasonable offense or not? This is something that we all have to look into and come up with the,
Okay, look at what is on the screen there. Can you see what is on the screen there?
Mm-hmm.
It says any person who levies war against the state in order to intimidate or overhaul the president or the governor of a state is guilty of treason and is liable. Now, going to another country, seeking for that other country to recognize Yoruba as a state of its own, does it not appear to be intimidating?
No, the question here is what we should underline on this statement on this chapter of I think you got this from the Constitution, right?
No, the Criminal Code Act.
Is the word war. And I don't think that, this is my personal opinion, I don't think that Sunday Igboho is waging any war against the government. I think that he's following the legal process of self-determination.
When you use the word legal process, do you have anything to back it up? Any reference, anything to back it up with?
That was why I said that we need to look into the Constitution and see what the Constitution states. That if you see, is it legal for one to write a statement or write a request calling for self-determination? Because I think that's what Sunday Igboho is doing. He drafted a request or kind of a plea, for self-determination.
Okay. We'll come back to that. Let's stay on the subject. Let's stay on the main topic. We'll come back to. I deliberately brought it up first, just to see your views on. Mr. Tony, welcome. Revolution to come. I don't know who came in first. I think it's Mr. Revolution. Now the topic is the South versus Southeast governor, who is responsible for this kind of continuous detention. We are all familiar with this statement that a man's enemy is among his own foe. And Showore was in prison. He has been released. I think the same Sunday Igbo was also in prison previously. If I am correct, I stand to be. If I am wrong, I stand to be correct. He has been released. Nnamdi Kanu is still in prison. He has not been released. Same charges. However, we have the South and the Southeast governors. We have the lawmakers who are his fellow kinsmen, who today have not done anything whatsoever to ensure that what is released. The recent lawmaker who submitted the motion to have Tinubu's university, I also stand to be corrected by his name, is an Igbo man, if I am correct. So I will start with Mr. Tony. You have 3 minutes. Are these people, the Ohanaeze Ndigbo, the South versus the Southeast governor, are they the one responsible in keeping Nnamdi Kanu in prison to date?
Good evening, everybody. Those who are listening, those who are on the platform, thank you for joining. First of all, let me correct something here. It's not quite true that you haven't had people from the Southeast calling for the release of Nnamdi Kanu. But I think it's important to lay the background to the travail of Nnamdi Kanu. The case dates back to 2015, when he was taken to court and granted bail by the government. In 2017, following the invasion of his family house and people were killed, I guess his parents, he escaped and went abroad. And then from there, he continued his struggle for the self-determination of his people, which the government, the federal government, frowned at. On the 27th of June 2021, while he was in Kenya, he was arrested by Interpol, and he was extradited to Nigeria, where he was again jailed, put in jail. Since that time, 4 years, for 4 years, he has been held in detention without bail by the federal government. And like you said, we have had similar cases. We have had Boko Haram people who have taken arms against the nation. Some of them have been fully integrated and even put in the army. We also have Igbo, like you said, has had brushes with the federal government. And in fact, he escaped to Republic of Benin. And there was an attempt also to extradite him to Nigeria. He was in jail for a while, in prison for a while, and eventually he's free. We've also also had, other cases. Well, Showore's own was a political thing, even though, again, he was accused, arrested, tried. He's free. So people tend to think that the government is not fair, is not partial in the way it has treated Nnamdi Kanu. Nnamdi Kanu has always claimed that he hasn't done anything wrong, and that his extradition from Kenya was an infringement on his right. So just to summarize, because of time, it's not true that you haven't had interventions. People I just give you a few examples. In January 2023, Soludo appealed for unconditional release of Nnamdi Kanu. June 2023, the governor of Enugu State, Mba, also has called for his release. June 30th, 2024, Mr. Peter Obi has also asked for his release. I saw that on TVC. We have had Showore also call for his release. We have had 50 members of House of Reps call on federal government to release Nnamdi Kanu. We have had Southeast governor. Yes.
Mr. Tony.
Go on. Yes.
Mr. Tony, you said that last statement you made. You've said you've had 50 lawmakers call for his release.
Yes.
These are lawmakers.
Yes.
These are those who, correct me if I'm wrong, make the laws.
Yes. And you've had 15 senators from the Southeast led by Baribe.
These are the people who make the law. And if the federal government is not respecting the law, or the judiciary who has to give the interpretation of the law, in your own opinion, sir, what should the lawmakers have done? Particularly those from the Southeast or Southwest, if you don't mind me asking that question.
Well, you see, people have read all kinds of motives to the struggle by Nnamdi Kanu. So much so that when they see any Igbo man, they say it's IPOB. Obi has been called IPOB.
Sir, I want us to focus on the question I asked. The question I asked is, the lawmakers, you make law, the judiciary interprets the law. Yes. So if you make the law and the judiciary who interprets the law either interprets it wrongly or refuse to abide by that law, what should the lawmakers do, particularly the one from the Southeast?
That's what I said. I said the lawmakers, what can they do? They can only appeal to the federal government, because the case actually is between federal government and Nnamdi Kanu. So the federal government is the one that has gone to court, that took him to court, that is holding him, even when a court of competent jurisdiction has asked for him to be released.
Okay.
I'll
come back to you, sir. So I'll come back. The floor is yours, please. Thank you. You are muted, Kenneth.
I think what Mr. Tony is trying to explain is something that most of us are aware of it. However, the question now remains that is the call for Nnamdi Kanu's release from these so-called Southeastern governors, is it just for political gain, or were they truly and sincerely advocating for his release? And also for the lawmakers, were they seriously calling for the release of Nnamdi Kanu, or were they just trying to use that opportunity to buy political votes? Because you and I know that when it happens in the North, the Northern leaders, the governors especially, will always come together, work with their lawmakers, their representatives, and they will all speak in one voice. Now, the question now is, when it comes to Southeast, why is it that we are not seeing that similar force, just as we've seen from the North? Why is it that the South in its entirety are divided? What I mean the South, the Southeast, the Southwest, and the so-called South-South. Southeast, actually. That's where they are. So why is it that they are not in, speaking in one voice when it comes to something that concerns the South? Why must there be continued division among the Southern region? But when it comes to the North, they always stick together and speak in one voice. And whatever they go for, they will always get it. And that's actually confirms that mantra that is in Igbo actually. Anyukonwa milonu oba ofufo, right? When you work together, you achieve a better result. So why is it that there is division in the Southeast, other than in the South, unlike what we have in the North? So we have Ohanaeze accusing the Southeastern governors of stalling that the release of Nnamdi Kanu until 2027. So why are they accusing the Southeastern governors if sincerely the Southeastern governors were truly calling for the release of Nnamdi Kanu? On the other hand, is Ohanaeze also playing to the gallery, trying to seek affirmation from the people? Because we all know that the Southeastern citizens don't even recognize Ohanaeze. We see them as criminals. We see them as dubious elders that always go for their pocket instead of speaking for the people they claim to represent. So now we have that division among the Southeastern governors, and that is a fact between, the Southeastern leaders, between the governors and the so-called Ohanaeze, and maybe the stakeholders from the Southeast. Why are they so divided?
Thank you, Kenneth. We'll come back. Mr. Tony, can you take I'm going to Dan, but you're going to weigh in on what Kenneth said based on your own argument. So Dan, the floor is yours, please. Thank you.
Yeah, good evening, everybody, from my side, and if it's morning anywhere you are, hello to everybody.
Yeah.
You see, that's your question. Can you just repeat it for me again? Because you've asked so many questions there. Which one do you want us to attack first? Please, sorry for that.
We're attacking that of Nnamdi Kanu.
Yes, I know, but Nnamdi Kanu, you said so many questions, so many things.
It's continued detention. Who is responsible? The South versus the Southeast governor. Kenneth highlighted the accusation or allegation made by the South against the other party not contributing, or there's a division. So is it the federal government responsible for the continued detention of Nnamdi Kanu, or the South and the Southeast governors?
Okay, thank you very much for that. The people responsible for detaining Nnamdi Kanu is the federal government. It has nothing to do with the South people. Though some South people are saying that, Nigeria, everybody will bring up their own version of things. Or the Igbo leaders, they don't want Nnamdi Kanu out because if Nnamdi Kanu comes out, nobody will respect them again. Nnamdi Kanu is the leader of the Igbos and things like that. So this is what is going on among the Igbos. You understand? And if you look at history, the Igbos, we are not together. You understand? If you look at the history of the Igbos deeply, there's always a big challenge among the Igbos. You understand? Even in Igbo family, there's either the senior one or the junior one is richer. There's this conflict among the Igbos. I'm an Igbo man. So when the Igbos, especially these Igbos who are seeking for power, you understand, when they come in conflict with somebody like Nnamdi Kanu, Nnamdi Kanu is a special person. I call him a freedom fighter for the Igbos. You understand? And if you see what has been happening in Nigeria about Nnamdi Kanu, you will see that the Igbos, those ones, if you look at the Igbos in our tradition, there are some people, if you give them money, they sell their birthright. You understand? This is a culture, a typical Igbo man, if you want to speak the truth, is there in the Igbo society where Nnamdi Kanu comes from. And if you look at the Igbos are different type of Igbos. They have the people from Imo State. the old Imo states. They have the people from Anambra. You understand? So there's a big divide, even in the dialect. The dialect is spoken differently. Their understanding also is different in many ways. So Nnamdi Kanu situation is the federal government that is holding him. They brought him back with their power and might. But the Igbos are claiming that Nnamdi Kanu, some Igbo, I was speaking to some guys some few days ago. They told me the radio, I was arguing. I'm a supporter of Nnamdi Kanu, no matter what happens. They have said that the radio station of Nnamdi Kanu, when he was on the radio, he was very insultive. You understand? He attacked the federal government. Call it, for example, Nigeria is a zoo, which I agree with him. All those type of languages. He was more violent in his speaking, unlike Showore and all this the other Yoruba man. His approach, even up to now, when he goes to court, you hear him when he comes to court to speak. He speaks more of anger, authority. You understand? Instead of calming down, which many people say, assuming he have calmed down, maybe they will leave him. But anytime he gets opportunity to say something, he says it with kind of I don't know if you have ever heard him say something when he appears in the court. He goes with force. And in a Nigerian situation like that, you know, Nigerian society, Nigerians are wicked people, especially when they want to deal with you. All these powerful people, when they want to deal with you, the way you approach them matters a lot to them. They want you to bow for them. They want you to tender your, when you are speaking to them, bring down your tone. But Nnamdi has refused to do that, which I agree with him. He's fighting a cause. You understand? Mandela never tempered his tone. He kept going on until he was freed. So I'm a supporter of Nnamdi Kanu. I have a shirt of him, of everything about him. So I'm a full supporter of Nnamdi Kanu when it comes to that level. So if you are saying who is holding in Nnamdi Kanu, the federal government is holding Nnamdi Kanu, and the East are not united on Nnamdi's situation. That's my take on that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. KJ, thanks for joining.
Thank you, sir.
Showore was charged for treasonable act. So also Sonigo. Is there a different law that was used to charge Nnamdi Kanu as such is continued detention? And the role of the South and Southeast governors? Because it's confusing as to why is continued detention. They say what is good for the goose is good for the gander. You're a journalist, a seasoned one, and you probably will also know a bit of the law. Are there different laws that is used in charging Nnamdi Kanu? We need to know this because it's actually a matter. This is not about Igbo or what. Yes, its own kinsman from where I stand. Its own kinsman, like what what's his name?
Thank you so much.
Rightly said. So the floor is yours, KJ.
Thank you so much, Electricity. Thank you, Kene and Revolution and Mr. Tony. I've listened to you guys I didn't want to come in because you guys know how passionate I am about this topic. But Revolution just made me to come in, What Revolution is saying now is what most, some Igbo people have said. And which to me does not hold any water because just like you asked, the law, where is the law? Where does the law stand? If the law didn't say that insulting elders is part of the Nigerian law, why will you hold him down because he says some elders are useless? Are they not useless? When we were growing up, things have changed. When we were growing up, when we were still young men, like 10 years, 20 years, we follow our fathers to meetings as an Igbo man. Because in that meetings, you hear proverbs and how issues are dealt with. At that point, elders were still elders because those ones who will collect bribe, they still tell you. Those ones, when they want to stand up and speak, they say, no, you sit down. It's not time for asking for money for snuff. So those people the people in the community know them as snuff collectors. They don't go to represent the people anytime. But there are elders who are always on the straight path and they call a spade a spade. In fact, even if you are a stubborn boy in the community, they will still say this guy is stubborn, but what he has done does not justify what you are doing. They put it straight. Look, the Igbo society does not prevent people from being stubborn. In my community, in where I come from, they say the people who are stubborn are the pride of the community because they are the ones who stand out when there's a reason to call young men to action. They say, go to this person, go to this person. When he hears this thing, he will not agree. And exactly what's what happened. As for my own case, my family happened to be one of those people who they always say to go and tell them this kind of thing that happened. We will go for a return match. So what am I trying to say in this? I'm sorry I took your time a bit off. Our elders in Igbo land are no longer what we used to refer to as elders, and not all of them. They are still very responsible elders in Igbo land. But if you remember very well, on this same program, I said when they handed this case to Ohanaeze Ndigbo and the Ndioshi, okay, I said it wasn't going to go anywhere. I said it here. At that time, Chief Emmanuel Wanya was still very much alive, and I said it's not going to go anywhere because these were the same people were handed over to Emmanuel Wanya and the governor of Imo State. Remember, in his broadcast, these are the people who he has pointed out ills that they've brought to Igbo land. Now, he says so many things about those people. Whether they were right or wrong, we still don't know. But those things he said, and these people see him as an arch enemy. Now, you say Igbo people should gather together and make their voices known through these individuals. What do you think they're going to do? Nothing. So I wasn't expecting that they're going to go and discuss, with the federal government to get them out. And then even talking of still on people in government, Mr. Benjamin Kalu, who wants to change Abia State. He's from Ben, the local government, Ben, the Igbere side of Ben, okay? And his place where he is maybe like 1 hour, less than 1 hour drive to where Nnamdi Kanu is from. So in other words, even if it's not representing him as a representative, he is number 6 man in Nigeria. And he told the whole world that he and Tinubu are 10 and 10 pence. In other words, he could tell the president, just assuming that they wanted to, secure a release, he could tell the president to release this man. All right. Having said that, let's go back to the law. What did the law say? Now and I'm saying it because I followed this thing right from the beginning, right from the shooting in Umuahia till today. Nnamdi Kanu has secured more than 5 court judgments in his favor. One of which said that you cannot try this man because there's a law there's a one part of law that says you cannot put something on nothing. Okay, I've forgotten what they call it in the French in the Italian language, but it's simply saying that you cannot lay something on nothing. You went against the law. The law cannot now side you to now begin to prosecute somebody you smuggled out of a country without a due process. This is a appeal court judgment handed down to Binta Nyako, which he refused to follow. That same appeal court judgment said, give him his bail. He wasn't supposed to be taken away. That bail was not supposed to be taken away because he did not jump bail. It is clear. What I'm saying is written, in black and white, that he was about to be killed, and nobody. It's only a tree, an Igbo land that is. The Igbo people say only a tree stands. They say we're coming to cut you tomorrow. You still be standing there tomorrow. That you don't stand when you hear that your life is in danger. So the Supreme Court affirmed that decision, saying the man escaped for his life and his bail should be what? Restored. The government and their cronies refused to follow it. Now, you are asking something. What I wanted to say here is that, look, we don't have a law in Nigeria. The law is according to who is in charge of government. If I'm the governor of my state, the law is according to what I say is the law. Okay? I can decide to say today, let them go and carry very dark man. Even if he didn't do anything, they go and carry him and lock him up. Who will challenge me? Come and let the Mopos beat you first and foremost before you even go and get judgment. Let me tell you something that's happening in Nigeria. Look, I'll give you a personal example. I was traveling one time, and then there was this army checkpoint, and they stopped me, and the guys were, even after I told them let's split the call, the guy said what, was trying to challenge me, okay, and one of them was trying to say he was going to beat me or something. He was trying to. I said, my friend, Do you know who I am? Do you understand who I am at all? So why was it, they were still, I don't know what this history was, because we caught them in the middle of taking bribe. Whether they thought we were going to report, whatever, I don't know. Anyway, I called a friend of mine who's a general, and I told him, this is why I am. He said, okay, let me tell you what he told me. Don't answer them. Don't say anything. You know why? I said, no. He said, because if they begin to slap you and beat you, the damage will have been done before my boss get there. So don't even say anything. Just wait for me. They are not going to agree to take the phone. And that's what they did. They didn't take the phone to speak to him until another, Land Rover came. So what am I trying to say in essence? That is how the law works in Nigeria. It doesn't work with following the due process, what is written down, black and white. They follow who is at the top. That's who they listen to. If you are not at the top, my brother, forget it. If you don't know anybody in Nigeria, my brother, forget it. No matter how much money you have. Why did Abiola contest for election? Because he was, pushed out of the road in the first place. Okay, by an ordinary man, he felt he could. I mean, he couldn't have done that to him, because some bloody civilians who had the authority of power were dealing with him the way he didn't like. So coming back to the Nnamdi Kanu's case, you see, that man will only be released if youths, young men, and other it may not even be Nigeria. I mean, Southeast. Other people intervene on his behalf, because the way the case is now, the government is caught in between. You cannot say you should go, because you don't know whether he's going to sue people for wrongful detention.
Okay.
So you are caught in between what to do or what not to do. But in the face of that, I want to strongly say and agree with those who have spoken before me. There are people in the East who are also satisfied in his being detained, because they know if he comes out, just the small example he showed in Ebonyi State, okay, is going to be replicated. When he says, okay, Tony cannot contest, people will say, oh, we agree. Kenneth cannot contest, people will say, we agree. So that's what the politicians from the East are afraid of. And that's what they are afraid of. They are not sure who Nnamdi Kanu will come out and say, okay, they should vote for or not vote for. They are afraid of
Right.
that.
KJ.
So, in essence,
Hold on 1 second, Ken. I'll come to you. These are the charges. If I am correct, if I am wrong, I stand to be corrected. Terrorism, treason, involvement with a banned separatist movement, inciting public violence through radio broadcasts, and defamation of Nigerian authorities through broadcasts. Is this correct?
Yeah, you see, they've amended the charges so many times that we don't even know what is there now. Remember before now, there was one said he was charged with insulting the president. He said the president is a fool. And
Okay,
that was
if that is it, that means every one of us, including Mr. Tony, who does not insult anybody, should be in prison.
yeah, that
Because
was part of the charges first. That was part of the charges.
okay.
Now, let me tell you
let me
where
start with
where
Mr.
the
Tony.
problem is. I'm coming,
Sorry.
and I'll round up with that. The
Okay, go
problem
ahead.
is with their last charges they submitted to the court. Okay, Nnamdi Kanu's lawyers was able to ask them, which was the reason why the Supreme Court quashed everything. Said, where did Nnamdi Kanu commit the treasonable felon that people are charging him for? You said it was through a broadcast. Where was the broadcast held? The broadcast was in London. They cannot say in London, because if they say in London, it's outside of the jurisdiction of Nigerian courts. So based on that, they went to rewrite, just like they're doing with one man in America now. They went to rewrite the thing again and remove London, okay, and it's just said that he defamed Nigeria and the federal government, in the broadcast. And that is what Murtala Nyako wants to sit over, instead of simply saying, look, I don't want, dismiss the case. Okay. And you have held this man down for 5 years now, counting. You are going to 5 years now. Okay. And still, nobody is saying anything. And those righteous individuals who have been saying Nnamdi Kanu wasn't doing it, he was insulting everybody, was doing it. What have they done since Nnamdi Kanu was locked up? Okay. If not for Simon Ekpa, will we even hear anything anymore since the time that Nnamdi Kanu was put in prison till today? Will you have heard anything at all? Has anybody done anything that have moved the needle from that point. Those who say it's insulting people, what have they done to actualize what is going on?
All right.
Let us not talk about Sunday Igboho, because if you go back and read the history of Sunday Igboho before he became prominent the way he had become, I'm sure that you will not be able to also say, not say certain things here. Okay, but let's leave it at that. Let's call everybody now a freedom fighter and classify them as that. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Can I will
So,
go around again, 5 minutes, 5 minutes each.
I think,
Go ahead.
yeah, I think I will agree with Mr. KJ, 99.9%. And my agreement with Mr. KJ is in response to your question, which was, what the allegations against Nnamdi Kanu, treasonable, whatever, those nonsense that they wrote there. But the fact is, those charges has been dropped already. The secession group or terrorist group they referred IPOB to be, that has also been dropped. And the question now is, what are they charging Nnamdi Kanu of? They have nothing, like Mr. KJ stated. You can't charge somebody on nothing. You broke the law, the law. You broke the law, and you cannot proceed with persecuting Nnamdi Kanu since the law has been broke already. So you have, for you to follow the for you to actually charge Nnamdi Kanu, you have to follow the due process. You have to return him back from wherever you picked him up from. Then you follow the legal process. Now, while KJ was saying, giving his speech, he said that that both, I think he was trying to allude that both the Ohanaeze Ndigbo and Southeastern governors are not being truthful to themselves. And I agree with him. My thoughts actually is, could this be a calculation at play? Because it's either this bunch of, sorry, I have to, maybe if I use this word now, I'll be committing treason again now.
I was just about to caution you to mind the word you are using, please.
So, does it mean that both Ohanaeze and Southeastern governors are either afraid of confronting the federal government, or is it that they are just there for their selfish interests? Like we all know that the governor of Imo State was the one that appointed the former, what's his name? Before Emmanuel Iwanyanwu, the guy that just died like last year or 2 years ago. And then he appointed Emmanuel Iwanyanwu again. Emmanuel Iwanyanwu has kicked the bucket as well. But the problem is, one Nyanwodo, maybe we have forgotten this imbecile, right? Nyanwodo was the one that actually sold Nnamdi Kanu out. My brother, let's have a conversation as brothers. He took Nnamdi Kanu out and sold him for free. Where is Nyanwodo today? Obiozo, where is Obiozo? Nyanwodo is still alive, but dead person is better than him. Where is Obiozo today? Where is Emmanuel Iwanyanwu today? The earlier our people understand that the fight that Nnamdi Kanu is fighting isn't for Nnamdi Kanu and his family, it's for the Ndigbo, the best for us. The earlier we understand that we, the Ndigbo, have been insulted severely by the Nigerian government and by our so-called brothers that we think we are fighting the same fight. The earlier we understand that we need to defend ourselves. It is beyond just calling for secession. Our land is being occupied by Fulani terrorist group today. Just recently, in Imo State governor and their useless representative were trying to bring down IDP camp in Imo State.
Okay.
Are we in war in Southeast? Why bringing down IDP in Southeast? For what? This is just a way to infiltrate Southeast with terrorism. Thank God for the youth of Imo State that went and burned that stupid building down. We don't need IDP. What we need in Southeast is railway line, just the way they connected every other region and bypass or offset southeast. We need railway line in southeast. We need what they call it, port authority. We need port, just as we have it in Lagos. We need one in southeast. We need the presence of federal government in southeast. That is what we need, not IDP.
All right,
we don't need that.
Thank you. I'm going to take you on some of the things you said. Dan, before I come to you, let me go to Mr. Tony. Mr. Tony, I observed that you were shaking your head when Kenneth was speaking. I don't know if it's in respect to what he said. You want to weigh in on, or it was just a normal? You were just shaking your head.
Yes, there were a few things that he said that are not correct, but let me start by agreeing with KJ, because he brought in some clarity into this issue, this case of Nnamdi Kanu. Not being a lawyer, I can only speak as a layman, and I can only speak the things that I have read. Now, the case, there's a charge against Nnamdi, seven count charge of treason against Nnamdi Kanu. And like KJ said, the part of the defense, what the defense claimed, is that the offense that was said to have been committed by Nnamdi Kanu was done outside the jurisdiction of Nigerian courts. By that, that being the case, they do not have jurisdiction to try him. He has made that point. Secondly, the defense has also indicated that the way and manner through which he was brought into Nigeria was an infringement on his fundamental human rights. And against that background, when the case was brought to court, the appeal court looked at the case in 2022 and discharged him and acquitted him. But the federal government appealed that judgment in the Supreme Court. And on December 15, 2022, the Supreme Court ruled and nullified the judgment of the appeal court, which was headed by Justice Adefope Okoje, and asked that the case be retried, again by the lower court. And that's the stage where we are now. So there's a 7 count charge against Nnamdi Kanu by the federal government. So it's not true.
Okay, Mr. Tony, what was the ground? What was the ground that the Supreme Court used to dismiss the judgment and was asked to be retried, please, if you don't mind?
Well, I don't have the grounds here, but what I know is that the Supreme Court frowned at the decisions of the judgment of the appeal court, the Federal Appeal Court in Abuja, and asked that the case be retried. So it was brought back to Binta Nyaku's court, where the case was originally being tried. The same court that had the Federal High Court in Abuja, the same court that had was trying. And Nnamdi Kanu's position is that woman, the judge, I beg your pardon, is biased, and that she should recuse herself. The Supreme Court, that the woman is biased and she should recuse herself. And so, against that background, she sent the case file to the chief judge in Abuja, and then that one looked at the case and sent it back again to Justice Binta Nyaku, saying that she's a fair woman. To this case, 2 previous judges who were on the case had recused themselves, and so for Nnamdi, and it was done. And for Nnamdi Kanu to now ask for a 3rd judge to recuse herself from the case was not acceptable to the court. So the chief judge now decided that Miss Justice Binta Nyaku should retry the case, and so that's where we are. But the point, so the point is that it's the federal government that has taken Nnamdi Kanu to court, and the federal government is the one that has that can only ask for, maybe the Attorney General is the only one that can advise the president to, give an order of mandamus or nolli prosecute, so that Nnamdi Kanu will be freed, or at least be granted bail unconditionally.
Here is what is confusing. I said it earlier. Well, they said what is good for the goose is also good for the gander. If the charges has been amended over time,
yes,
meaning that it was reduced.
Okay. It was amended when Nnamdi Kanu, like KJ said, when Nnamdi Kanu told the court, when his lawyers told the court that they don't have jurisdiction to try him because the offense that they are alleging that he committed was in the UK. So how can you try me in Nigeria for an offense that was committed in the UK?
So let's look at it this way. Sorry for interjecting. Okay. Yes. If they said if you are, I mean, you can amend charges. I've seen a case where they charge, but in this case, the argument is the Nigerian government don't have the jurisdiction or the authority to try. So should that be amended or be quashed? Should the charges be amended or be quashed entirely, or be sent to the UK government to try? That is, if the UK government will try it.
No, I think that the federal government realized that the defense has the case, so they had to amend the case so that they had to amend the charges to reflect what is the church, the courts, would have jurisdiction over. But you see, let us look at this thing a little bit more dispassionately, because the case has also been politicized. Al Mustafa was in court for years. They didn't grant him bail. It took a long time. So it's not as if we are seeing something that has not been done, but we're looking at fairness here and justice. I think that if you look at the way all the others have been treated, I think it's also, in my opinion, and I might be wrong, I think there's nothing wrong with granting him bail at least. And the federal government, but it's a little bit political, because there are people who fear, one, that the seeming almightiness of Nnamdi Kanu would rub off or would be negative to their maybe political ambition. There are some people in the Southeast who have that kind of feeling. There are people who also are suspicious of his modus operandi, the way he has operated. There are people who are not very, very comfortable with his style. And so it's a little bit complicated. And I think in dealing with the issue, I think we should be open-minded. My just to end, to summarize my thinking. Again, I say I'm a layman, so I'm limited strictly because I'm not a lawyer. My thinking is that if you want to end the restiveness in the Southeast, you might want to see how you can release this young man. A lot of damage has been done to him. He's been in prison for 4 years without bail. That's unfair, I think that offense, whatever it is a bailable offense. And I think Abari has been there standing for him. He is the senator representing his constituency. He has been doing whatever he can to see that, but there's a lot of damage that's been done to this man. And if you can release people from Boko Haram who took arms, what has Nnamdi Kanu done that is more or worse than what Boko Haram people have done? So in the interest of fairness and justice, I think it may be what the one. For instance, the president, he's not going to lose anything because he has the power to say, okay, order the attorney general, and then give nully prosecute. So they stop prosecuting him, and they can sit down with him and work out all the other modalities. That's my thing.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tony. Mr. Dan, does Nnamdi Kanu poses a threat to the nation, or we need such a person in this present context of Nigeria compared to Peter Obi and who is a peaceful man, and in the present context of Nigeria right now, do we need a person like Nnamdi Kanu who is I'm looking for the right word to use, who has a revolutionary mind, not necessarily violent, but who can push for a change?
Thank you, gentlemen. But Andrew, I must tell you something.
Go ahead.
If you have to look at Nigeria's setting first of all. That's where we want to deal with this question of Nnamdi Kanu. You have to look at our society. Are we a sane society? No.
Sorry, Dan. CM, welcome. I did not ignore you. Dan, go ahead.
Yeah, we are not. Nigeria is not a sane society. Nothing works how it's supposed to be in Nigeria. What Nnamdi Kanu is undergoing is punishment from the big boys. No matter what the courts will say, this is, oh boy, you want to tell us you are stubborn? Okay, we don't get you. We'll go show you pepper, which is a normal statement in Nigeria. That's what is happening to Nnamdi Kanu. You understand me? If you now, to answer your question, whether we need people of his temperament in Nigeria, Obi is soft in our own view. Nnamdi Kanu is this type of guys. They don't care what you will do to them, where they are. Even in the courts, when he speaks with authority. You understand? And these guys, Nigeria being a country that doesn't respect nothing, no law in that country, nothing works. If you become tough to these guys who have the power in Nigeria, they will punish you. Nnamdi Kanu is just undergoing the normal Nigerian punishment. That's all. Nothing. Nnamdi temperament, of course, we need people like that. If, for example, someone like Peter Obi now that has got a lot of backing, you understand? If Peter Obi has such temperament, you understand? You will see that he will be in a different scale now because he's part of the system. The people are behind him, and he's trying to fight for his right that he won the election, for example, last election. If he has this type of Nnamdi temperament now, we can understand that. But people like Nnamdi Kanu, who is fighting for the division or for the Biafran state, because the Igbos are not respected in the Nigerian society or Nigerian whatever it is. This is where he's fighting. And for example, for instance, I used to mention something about revolution, but some people don't understand what I'm talking about. The system that Nigerian is running, we have to break that system off so that people like Nnamdi Kanu, people like Peter Obi, then we have a chance. But if the system remains how it is today, Nnamdi Kanu has been to court many times now. They freed this guy. Even they awarded him. There was one of the cases they even freed him and asked the government to pay him money. You understand? So all these things has been done. The normal system has been followed. But our Nigerian system, which we always try to ignore sometimes when a case like this comes up, when we are discussing like this, we should not forget the system in Nigeria. You understand? Because if we want to overlook that system and talk about the courts and use these technicalities of the court and all these technicalities you guys know better than me, nothing will change until we remove that system. So that Nnamdi Kanu, if you go to court say free this man, immediately they will free him. But if the system remains, unfortunately, nothing will happen, no matter his temperament, or even tomorrow if Obi decide to be like Nnamdi Kanu, nothing will change. Thank you.
All right, thank you. CM, welcome to this evening. You don't need introduction to this topic. However, looking at the topic, I believe you've seen the topic. Could you weigh in straight on the topic itself, which says South versus Southeast governors? Who is responsible for Nnamdi Kanu's continued detention? The floor is yours, CM.
Okay, thank you, Electricity. Good evening, everybody. It's quite night here now in the UK. The simple answer is none of those options are responsible for Nnamdi Kanu this thing. They should have put the third option. The person holding Nigeria, holding in Nnamdi Kanu is none of those governors. It's just the government. Federal government decide not to release him. It's as simple as that. The thing about going a bit further, the thing about Nnamdi Kanu's case is that either that some people deliberately want to sidetrack the main issue, why Nnamdi Kanu is still in detention, or they just want to, bamboozle people. Nnamdi Kanu is being held up till this moment simply for one word: he is Igbo. That's all.
So
As far
hold on. In the matter of the law,
yeah,
can somebody be held because he's an Igbo? Don't forget, Showore was held, was charged for treasonable. I don't want us to go. Like I said, it could be Kenneth that is held. It could be, let's say I am not an Igbo man. If I'm not. It could be anybody. So I don't want. So are you suggesting? Are you saying that? What do you base your premise on that he was being held because he's an Igbo man?
Well, my premise is this, Well, thank God you said what I base my premise on.
Please.
I think that was last Sunday. I wish I will bring in Dr. Dele. I think Dr. Dele Ogun, the guest we had on 90 Minutes Africa, either last week or so.
Yeah, Dr. Dele Ogun, yeah.
Somebody who read 80 books before he could produce one book. It's a research. Anyway, but let me not go there. The thing is that the reason is this. We all know it. We all know the predicament of the Igbo in Nigeria. It's as simple as that. I don't want people, these are facts. These are what we know. If a writer, they call him the grandfather of African literature, Chinua Achebe, as far back as 1983, in his book, The Trouble with Nigeria, he said, Nigerians of other ethnic group can never agree on anything unless there are common resentment of the Igbo. I don't know how old was I in 1983, but now, in fact, I had the book. I read it today anyway. Like, look, I should have bring it and show you. When I refer to it, I say, my God. You see, the thing is that Nnamdi Kanu's case had shown me that those that feel that we are Nigerians, they feel that we can never allow Igbo man to leave Nigeria, and we can never allow them to be Nigerian president. This is the dilemma of Ndigbo. Nnamdi Kanu was a one Nigerianist. He marched in the street of London to Nigerian High Commission in London, Northumberland Avenue, to protest, to tell Yaradua that by buying the leader of Boko Haram extrajudicially, say it's not good. He said it everything. It's on tape. He was the person, even engineer, telling Nigerians in the UK and London that we have to protest against this government, and they did. But when he found out that the hunter is now the hunted, he felt no. The best thing for me is to take my area. Let us leave Nigeria. Those that want to be can be. So, in fact, Nnamdi Kanu has nothing to do with law because by their own case, you try them in your own court. You can't find him nothing. You keep amending charges. You don't do that. When you bring somebody to a court and that charge you are charging the person collapses, the person is freed. Tomorrow, the person will have to leave first, get out of the court and celebrate that victory. You are at liberty again. Maybe when you like in future, you arrest him again for another charge. That's fair. Not when the charge collapse, you hold him, amend it, and tell him to come tomorrow. Who are you? Who are you deceiving? Who are you deceiving? Do you know why I'm saying this? Nigeria today, when Nnamdi Kanu's case started, for those that I know people are hearing me, you can't be more Catholic than the Pope. The advisor who Nnamdi Kanu respects after his parents is Professor Ben Nwabweze, the constitutional law expert. Nobody takes precedent when he was alive in the whole of Africa. Nobody. The first professor to become was given a son. It was because of him they started it. That is the person Nnamdi Kanu listened to. He said Nnamdi Kanu has no case. Lord Dennings in the UK here, they quote it. Anybody who studied law in Nigeria, in fact, for you to be a lawyer in Nigeria, for you to get bachelor's degree in law in Nigeria, you must read at least 2 or 3 books, compulsory, written by Professor Nwabweze, otherwise you won't pass. Lord Denning said you can't put something on nothing and expect it to stand. You cannot go to Kenya, tie somebody's hand behind his back, blindfold him, beat him for 8 days, starve him, bring him into Nigeria and say, come and stand trial. Where is it done? If you want to try Nnamdi Kanu, you send him back to Kenya and pay the damages, then tell a Kenyan government, extradition, we need him. Then you start. That's what they call rule of law. That's why the case failed to be an issue. They're just telling him that you are Igbo, you can't do anything because we are like the Jews they want to treat. But let me tell you, the genie they say is out of the bag. Nigeria is gone. Nnamdi Kanu has damaged Nigeria beyond repair. All this Nigeria you are hearing, when you hear somebody say it's from the southeast and is talking Nigeria, these are people that are looking for money. 99.9%, their mind is in Biafra. They are operating as if they are in another country. Nobody is interested.
Okay.
This is pure humiliation to Ndigbo. Forget, there's no law. What are they doing? You have the whole son in Nigeria, employ them. They will call Nnamdi. Let me put this. Professor Michael Zekum made us to know you were joining Nnamdi Kanu's case. Say maybe you are coming on October 31st. By October 30th or October 31st in the morning, they will fax them a this thing. Say this is the charge now.
Amendment.
This is the amendment. Where is it done? Then they will now come to court and say, we got this thing. Your Lord, my Lord, we got this thing this morning. Or we got this thing yesterday. How can they haven't got time to prepare for it? They will start arguing it. Why? Because he's an Igbo man. That's all. That's just what they are doing. The essence of doing this is that to feel that they do you know what Nnamdi Kanu's case represents? Because I don't want to talk law. There is something they call air, which everybody breathes in. You cannot see air. You can only feel it as a wind. When the wind is blowing, you see the trees shaking or your clothes are shaking, the one you dried out. In the Igbo, it's like wind. Anybody that can catch the wind can stop Igbo man's progress. But if you cannot catch the wind, you are wasting your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, Legacy, before you go further, let me buttress some of what he has said. Because like I said, I have a full dossier of what went on. Now, I want to take your mind back to, before I tell you what I'm going to, give it a name, I want to take your mind back to when Nnamdi Kanu was kidnapped from Kenya and then brought to Nigeria. And I thank Florence, for even bringing that to my knowledge. It was announced in Hausa.
Malami, attorney general. Malami.
yeah, the Attorney General of the Federation did the broadcast in Hausa language to let them know that their biggest enemy had been captured. It was celebrated widely in some part of the north. They went to town dancing and celebrating. In fact, so I want to say this: Nnamdi Kanu is a trophy that what's his name, Muhammad Buhari won when he was in government. That's the trophy he can show his people, that he was able to capture that boy who was calling him stupid and mannequin. Now, whether we accept that or not, that's the truth of the matter. And then if we say we are a federation and it's not about the fact that it's Igbo, why was it allowed or why was it necessary to broadcast in Hausa language that we have captured this individual? The video is out there in the internet. For those who want to argue and say maybe we are now spinning stories here, you can go to the internet and search for the video and watch for yourself. The whole of that broadcast that lasted about 30 minutes thereabout was all in Hausa, and nobody questioned it. In the Federal Republic of Nigeria, where the lingua franca is English, nobody questioned it. The Igbo didn't question it. The Yoruba didn't question it. The other minority tribes didn't question it. Why was it in Hausa? No MBA didn't go to court to say we are surprised that they are making a national broadcast in Hausa language. Gentlemen, do you think we still have a country that has law? The answer for me, no.
All right. Let's Mr. Tony, Dan is we'll do this. I want to run an exercise here. Going by what CM said. Do you think, in your own opinion, if you don't mind, let's leave it as yes or no, I'm going somewhere. Do you think Nnamdi Kanu is being held down because he's an Igbo man?
You know, it's difficult to say yes or no, but I will say capital yes.
Okay. Thank you. KJ, is that the same thing? Mr. Tony.
Yes.
Mr. Tony, okay. Do you think
Yes.
And I have my reasons for saying yes.
Yeah,
so
we'll come to
me.
that reason. I know. Mr. Tony, do you think Nnamdi Kanu is being held, his continued detention is because he's an Igbo man?
Oh, that's a perception because of the way he's been treated. So people think, but I don't think that's the reason why.
Can you give me your argument, please?
Well, you see, there's an offense. There's an offense that has been alleged that he committed against the Federation. And we have, like I said, I mentioned Al Mustafa, you know, we talked about Igbo, we talked about Howare. So it's not as if we haven't seen these types of cases, even though they may not be exactly the same thing. But all of them border on threats to the nation. My own growl with the way he has been treated is that, I mean, this case has gone for a long time, and I don't see any reason why there cannot be a resolution outside court, because those other ones were resolved outside court. The young man has suffered a lot of, you know, his family, you know, just because of things that he has said, which the nation found offensive. But I think that in the interest of the nation and in the interest of the Southeast, because it's affecting trade, it's affecting security, lives and property, I think the same way that the government, or even the Niger Delta, as those cases were resolved, I think there's a need for the federal government to be a little bit more magnanimous and set the guy free. And you know, they can set the parameters, and then, but there's a fear, not just by the federal government. And there are also the fears, even in the Southeast, by some people who feel that Nnamdi Kanu, releasing Nnamdi Kanu would outshine and maybe take away whatever mileage that they may have as politicians and so on. and and so on and so forth. But to narrow it down to the fact to a feeling that is because he's Igbo, for me, it would be too simplistic.
Okay. Can you educate us? How long was Al Mustafa held behind bars, please?
Sorry, before you go there.
No, I'll come to you, KJ. I'm
Hold
going
on,
somewhere.
sir. I want to ask my question also. Sir, you have said that with due respect to you also. All those other people you mentioned, where were their crime or what the criminality they committed, where was it done? In which place?
That is why that of Nnamdi Kanu is slightly different, because part of his claim is that, listen, whatever you allege that I committed was committed outside the country. So, but again, the Supreme Court has nullified that. So, and that's the Supreme Court is the highest court of the land. So, unless it reverses itself, then we can. That's the end of the road. So the Supreme Court has said that the case should be retried by the lower court, and so at the lower court.
You are misquoting the ruling.
So can I? Sorry.
So what's going to happen is
can I also make my own case for saying that yes, Nnamdi Kanu?
Oh, yeah, you will.
Okay.
You will make that case.
Okay, so I go ahead then.
Jagun, welcome. I'll give Jagun the floor. Then we will now go to that question I asked. I have my own opinion on that. I shouldn't. I'm the moderator. I have an opinion on that. Kenneth co-moderating with me. So after Jagun speaks, we will go on a free flow discussion whereby moderating for me will be very, very minimal, so that I can give my own opinion. But Jagun, welcome to the show. I believe you've seen the topic, and so I will yield the floor for you. You have 5 minutes to weigh in on the topic. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Electricity, and I greet all my brothers on the platform. Dan, we haven't seen you in a while. Oh, it's very good to see you.
Nice to see you too, man.
Thank you, brother. I didn't know. We spoke, I think it was on Wednesday, and you showed us that this would be a topic for today. And I felt it's an interesting topic. I haven't listened in for a long time. I was a bit busy at 9 o'clock, so I came in rather late. However, in coming in and seeing everybody, 5 people on the platform and myself, and of course yourself as a moderator, everybody's Igbo. And obviously, those who want to represent...
Point of correction, everybody is not Igbo. I'm not Igbo.
No, I sided you away. I said 5.
Okay, all right.
That not being a problem, because at the end of the day, every individual has to represent themselves. So the fact that there are 5 Igbo people here and myself and no one from any other region, it's I don't know if it's telling, but me personally, I'm not like that. I'm a person, I will show up at any occasion as myself because I'm unafraid and unapologetic. Now, where Nnamdi Kanu is concerned, me personally, I have a lot of issues with himself. And I would like a one-on-one with him, a deep one-on-one. What I like, where I agree with many of his utterances over the years, I find myself not seeing him as a frugal and mindful leader. He may be a leader, but I don't see him as mindful. I feel he has many claims that can't be substantiated. They just can't. He can't substitute. He can't deal with me on a question of Biafra. I'll break him into 1,500 pieces. He cannot deal with me on that. And I know this. On a verbal level, whatever you think, Ekene, I know your thoughts, Ekene. I understand your thoughts, but he can't. Because what it is that when you come to a point of view of discussion on any subject, the reasoning within that subject has to be universal. It cannot be just cultural. It cannot be just your own. This is what I believe. So to hell with everybody else. There's nothing like that. And I know a lot of people follow that agenda in their mind. Now, when Nnamdi Kanu eviscerates the neighbors in Igbo, from Igbo land, the Ijos, the Ibibio, the Calabar, the Urobo, the Edo, the Yorubas, he just eviscerates them. And I'm listening to him and I'm thinking, is this palatable? Is it palatable to you to hear someone speaking like this about your neighbors? How are you making any relationship? How does that make a relationship between your neighbors to speak in them in such terms? That's where I have a massive problem with him. And as I said, if he's in front of me, he cannot deal with me. He won't be able to deal with me on an intellectual basis when we're speaking about this thing called Biafra. I'll break him into a million pieces, verbally. I understand what people think. You know, in Nigeria, we have a lot of pride within our tribal group. But there's sometimes you can overstep this thing called pride and step on everybody else's balance. And it's unfortunate that people from the East who follow and love Nnamdi Kanu cannot see, they see him as a perfect individual, is the way I see it. And he's just a human being. He's just a human being like every other one of us. Me, I'm not afraid of this Igbo-ness, Igbo-centric. I'm not afraid of it. It doesn't scatter my mind. Some people, they won't talk because they're afraid. And the pursuance of this kind of agenda is to commit fear in people's spirit, is to commit some level of I am better than you. And when I get that attitude from people, I'm coming with my big foot, my big 12-foot shoe, and I'm going to stamp all over that shit, because that's what it is. Now, having said all this, I do not believe he deserves to be in prison. I don't know why they have him there for this amount of time. I again look at just the Nigerian way of doing things as completely awful. And how do we balance things? We are the most unbalanced people on this planet. We don't even have to go outside of our family to be, if we're being honest though, amongst ourselves here, we don't have to go outside of our family to see the imbalance that is Nigeria. We don't have to go far. We just look at your brother, sister, mother, father, uncle, auntie, whoever it is that is unbalanced among us. We don't have to go far. Now, if we're unbalanced within each of our families, it's obvious that we're going to be unbalanced in the society. So I don't want to really speak trash and start lauding something like somebody is not a human being. We are all human beings and we are fallible. We are able to make errors. We are able to make mistakes. It's only whether or not we can look and see, oh, you know what, I made an error there, I apologize. I think possibly it's because the way Nigeria is, that apologies, I mean real ones, based on real issues.
Thank you, Jago.
Apologies aren't really what we do in that country, because we have to hold our own. Because as I spoke again, because it's a Nigerian context, apologies are looked as I've won, or you're a failure, or something on that level, as opposed to be taken in the spirit that an apology is meant. I would end there, allow the conversation to go on. I have a lot to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we'll go back to the question I asked. I will start with myself first, if Nnamdi Kanu, then I'll go to Kenneth. We are now in a free flow mode. But let me say this. Jago, you highlighted the people here. It's not an Igbo topic. It's not centered on Igbo. It's centered on justice. on fairness and what and equity. Yes, the person it concerned is an Igbo man, but it's centered on, I don't do tribe. It's centered on justice, fairness, and equity. I asked Mr. Tony how long was I don't know the man is in there. I I forgot his name. Pardon?
Al Mustafa, Major
Yeah,
Al Mustafa.
how long was he incarcerated for? Please.
I don't know, but it took years. It was for years. I got to calculate it. But he was from Abdul Salami to when was it released? From Abu Salami to maybe up to 4 years too, as well, or more.
And what was the charges, sir? Please, if you don't mind, do you know the charges, please?
Well, they border on security and all the mess under Abacha. It was Abacha's
Sir, Tony, he was never charged. He was detained.
yeah,
No,
okay.
yeah,
He was taken to court. He was taken to court.
Different because Al Mustafa was one of the most powerful, in fact, if not the only powerful major in Nigeria after the one we read about, which is Major Chukwuma Nzogu. So it's a totally two different things. I know, And
So what was it held for?
Okay, let me help Tony. I know this is not my time. I just want to help Tony. I still have my time. Mustafa was arrested and detained for 1 year. The reason being that he was charged of for the murder of Kudrat Abiola. So he was later released after a year. Then he was also again rearrested and detained for allegedly plotting for 4 coups. And when he was under Sani Abacha, he was using his office to terrorize every other officer. In short, he was so powerful.
Oh, sorry.
I think we lost Ken. Okay, Ken.
No, I'm here.
Okay.
He was so powerful that he was punishing his seniors. So those seniors now were taking revenge against him, and that was why he was detained. So El Mustafa's case is entirely different from Nnamdi Kanu's case. Nnamdi Kanu did not murder anyone. Nnamdi Kanu did not plot any coup against any government. Nnamdi Kanu did not punish army generals or army officers that were now taking revenge on him. So Nnamdi Kanu, he's just a civilian calling for legal process of doing things, which is secession. So I don't know why you are trying to log on Nnamdi Kanu or Mustafa.
Did the court find Mustafa of any crime?
Mustafa is a free man today. He even contested for presidential election last year.
No, I'm asking you said he was punishing generals and then he killed Kudirat. Did the court find him guilty?
Now, there is a question that hold on. It's something that you need to now clarify. Now, why are you saying or trying to equate Nnamdi Kanu's case to that of El Mustafa? Two different things.
I think you maybe you didn't quite get me. I am saying, if we are looking at it from the prism of injustice, then it falls within that purview. And I'm saying
El Mustafa was accused of murdering someone.
Accused.
Yes, accused.
Just as Nnamdi Kanu is being accused. Nnamdi Kanu is being tried under Section 174 of the Terrorism Prevention Act of 1999 as amended.
And how do you defend terrorism? How do you define terrorism? And what did Nnamdi Kanu say or did that qualifies him to be a terrorist?
That's. Are you asking me? You should ask those who are trying him.
No, you are the one defending his charge now.
I am not defending anybody. You see, I think you have a wrong perception of my position. You have.
Tony, it's okay. Let me just handle my question. That should make so that some kind of people can understand where you. Can know exactly where you understand. I have two questions for you, but it's just a very simple answer. If you know it, you say you know. If you don't know, that's all. The first one is, can you name a Nigerian, whether living or dead, who has been extraordinarily renditioned and brought to trial? Just the name, if you know, you tell us. If you don't know, you say you don't know. Number two, have you ever heard of a Nigerian who was given bail while he was in his house? The military invaded his house with the intention to kill him. If you know of anybody, you tell us, oh yeah, this is the person. If you don't know, you say you've never heard of it. Just for us to know. And then the third one, because I need names. Have you heard about a Nigerian who was renditioned, brought to placed on trial, started the trial from the High Court to the Appeal Court to the Supreme Court, and they have to go back to start again at High Court? Have you ever had it, any Nigerian in history? If you know, you say yes, this is the name. If you don't know, you say you don't know.
Mr. Tony, before you respond to that, I need to set a premise here, please. Let's do it this way. If I say something, for example, and it's not correct, I think we should challenge the argument rather than putting an individual on the spot. So if I say something that is incorrect or you want to challenge CM, I think you should challenge it, or challenge Mr. Tony's position or argument, I beg your pardon, and not put anyone on the spot. We are making this a free flow discussion. I want to do less moderating. We can interject each other with respect, nothing personal. So I don't know how I'm starting from. I'm supposed to start with Kenneth in respect to the yes and no.
No, let me reply.
Okay, all right. Mr. Tony, it's your choice to reply. So please do reply.
Yes, when I started speaking, I did say that Nnamdi Kanu's case didn't start in 2021. It didn't. That was when he was renditioned. The case started in 2015, and the offenses that he was alleged to have committed was quite different from the 7-count charge that was brought. That was later brought, because just like it's been said, there's been series of amendments. Now you asked me a question. 3 questions you asked me. I concede here that I'm not a lawyer. I don't know if you are a lawyer, but I concede here that I'm not a lawyer, and I'm just speaking as a layman. I made that very clear. The point that I'm making is, which is very clear, and anybody would have picked it. It's the justice behind what has been, whether justice has been done or not. It's not a question of whether he's an Igbo man or not. That's a very, very narrow way to look at it, and that's why I had to make.
I'm asking of a name.
Excuse me, give me a right to express myself, please.
Hold on.
I listened to you when you were speaking. You asked me a question. Let me excuse me.
There are questions that waste time. What I want is, if I ask you, do you know the capital of United States?
I am not in a law court. You cannot be asking me yes or no question. I have the right to express myself.
That's all.
Oh, please, guys.
As a deputy,
let's not turn it into a argument.
Let's hear what people have to say. Hold on. Let's understand ourselves here. Mr. CM asked a question to Tony. Mr. Tony, if you know the answer, give him the answer. If you don't know, let's get to another person.
I'm trying to explain, and he's asking me, you want me to say yes or no?
Previously, Electricity asked a question, yes or no. But I don't think CM was asking yes or no question. He was just asking you to give him names. It's very simple. If you don't know, you don't know.
If you don't know, you say. Simple.
That's not relevant to the issue that we're talking about.
Okay, now,
It's not
okay,
relevant
now.
because
Okay, forget about it. Let's go to another
Okay,
person.
okay, Mr. Tony, Mr. Tony, Mr. Tony, since it's not, Mr.
You
Tony,
guys, you need
audience,
moderating.
please,
You
audience,
guys need
audience.
moderating.
If it's not
Mr.
relevant, don't
CM,
answer it. That's
Mr. CM, it's very obvious.
About
Yeah, it's very obvious. He doesn't have the answer to your question.
no,
So
you
let's
can't,
forget about it.
you can't say that. You are not in my mind. You can't say that.
Mr. Tony,
You
Mr.
can't
Tony.
say that. Listen.
Yeah, let me come in here. Yeah, let me come in here. Mr. Tony.
You are bringing in
Mr.
bias
Tony.
discussion.
if it's not relevant, don't answer it. What are you saying?
We're just speaking from our biases.
We are not understanding ourselves here. So let's forget about it.
Question has been made against the man.
No, he asked a question. Mr.
Mr.
Tony, he asked a question. Since you don't have answer to his question, let's proceed.
No,
So
I don't agree. I don't agree with his position.
Gentlemen,
let me give my own argument. Yeah, Mr. Tony, Mr. PM, let me give my own argument, and I will start with the.
Okay, gentlemen, I want this to be a free flow discussion and not for us to go. Mr. Tony, go ahead and explain yourself. You have 3 minutes, please. Thank you.
Yes, what I'm saying is that it is wrong to reduce this thing to just ethnic this trial to just bring it down to look at it from the narrow prism of ethnicity. That's not the issue. And the court, this case is, in fact, what we're doing now is subjudice, because we are not supposed to be discussing this because the case is in court. My position is that this Supreme Court has sent this thing back down to the lower court, and the lower court has been instructed to retry this case, giving the relevant section of the law that they think he has violated. And therefore, if you say that they are trying him because it's just this whole thing is because he's an Igbo man, then you know more than the Supreme Court and the judges. Maybe there's something you know that we don't know.
Okay, so let me take my time.
Let me correct something here, Mr. Tony. Why the case is in court? The public can discuss it as long as we are not part of the case. We are not the lawyer, we are not the judge, we are not the jury, we are not members of the jury, we are not a court clerk or anything. We are just members of the public, and the public can discuss any case. There is no law that forbids public from discussing ongoing case. Only those who are involved in a case are forbidden from discussing any case. Now, like I said earlier, again, it's about fairness, equity, justice, and what is good for the goose is good for the gander, not about tribe, because it could be anybody. However, Mr. Tony, you will agree with me that
that is my position. That's my position.
I know. That's your position, and I agree with you. But you will also agree with people that have this sentiment that some other people are being held on the same charges. People like Showore, people like Sunday Igbo and whatever people, and have been released. These people are quote unquote.
I acknowledge that.
Yeah, okay.
I did acknowledge that.
Okay,
now,
thank you very much.
Let us look at just one more thing. I want to do.
Go ahead, sir.
Let us look at the first coup, 1966. There's a perception that is an Igbo coup. There's a perception that in some quarters that this is an Igbo coup, and people are reading that meaning into it because of the outcome of the coup. But in the original planning of the coup, and I've read so many things, and I've even listened to IBB on the subject, it was those who participated in the coup were people from all parts of the country. But because of the outcome, because of the way the thing turned out, now people are reading different meanings to it, which is not so that the perception that we get in this case, in this trial, is that he's been tried, he's been punished because he's an Igbo person, and I refuse to subscribe to that view.
Okay.
Thank you,
So,
Mr. Craig.
my time, please. My
Yes,
time.
your time, Kenneth.
You
Again,
see-
I want us to make. I do not want to
difficult?
comment, Kenneth. I do not want to come. I want to make this
Mhm.
less moderating. So,
Exactly.
if we can have this discussion respectfully, and we don't turn it into, and let's establish this, please. I
Exactly.
recognize our sentiment. However, please, it's about fairness, equity, justice, whatever it is. Not because Nnamdi Kanu is an Igbo man. We want him released. We want the judge. We want the law to prevail. The law must be blind. As they always say, CM, you agree? They said the law must be blind. So
Now,
Kenneth has the
Let me
floor,
wait.
CM, not you.
30 seconds.
Kenneth has the floor, not you.
Can I please 30 seconds? Let me weigh in. You see, Nigerian Constitution, there's a provision, whatever section it is, for a charge against terrorism. That charge in the Constitution did not say it's only against one ethnic group. The way you interpret it for a Yoruba man is the way you should interpret it for every other person.
That is the position of Mr. Tony.
That is the position. So because they looked at, they charged Igbo for treason and later let him go. The same treason, the same word, the same number of TERROSISM, the same word, treason, terrorism, was what they charged Igbo for, was what they charged Showore for. The same treason, the same section. And they are left, say, go and sin no more. Why are they still holding in Nnamdi Kanu? Because he's Igbo. The same terrorism. And people tell me that it's not because he's Igbo. When they say terrorism in the Constitution, did they say, when you're interpreting terrorism in the Constitution, if we say Yoruba, interpret it this way. If we say Ijo, interpret it this way. If it's Hausa, interpret it this way. If it's Kanuri, interpret it. Is it not one law for everybody? Why is the same terrorism you charge Igboho goes home? The same terrorism you are holding in Nnamdi Kanu, same terrorism. And that same section, the same section, Nnamdi Kanu, look, anybody can go there.
CM, you use more than 30 seconds. The floor is yours.
Nnamdi Kanu is being because he's Igbo. Simple. He's Igbo. That's all.
Okay.
That's what I believe. Nobody can change me.
Yeah, I say that Nnamdi Kanu's continued detention is because it's Onyibo. And I can confirm that with my argument. See, Mr. Electricity, it's very difficult to have a case for Nigeria. We are badly mistreated, and I find it difficult to take the other position on this matter. Now, this is it. Mr. Tony, let me even correct this again. The restiveness in the southeast isn't because of Nnamdi Kanu's detention. The restiveness in the southeast is because of the coal and the gas, the mineral resources that is being exploited in the southeast. Just the way the restiveness in states like Zamfara, Yola side, Meduguri, and all that is because of the resources there. So it's a calculative attempt by the government in collusion with whomever that is sponsoring them. And that was why the Enugu state governor last time had to step out to begin to stop them from, mining coal in Enugu state. Actually, I think he demanded 1 billion naira from them. And today, as we are speaking, the mining of coal is ongoing in Enugu state. Every night, they are moving coal, trailers of coal out of Enugu state. And who is in charge of those areas today? Fulani terrorists. Now, I said yes, that the detention of Nnamdi Kanu is because of his Igbo-ness. And my reason being that there was a king, Ohanaeze Ndigbo, in Lagos State that spoke during the election, 2023 election. He was arrested. To today, he has been in detention. But the Oba of Lagos State called for extermination of Ndigbo in Lagos State. Oba of Lagos is a free man. There was someone called Sunday Igboho that is asking for cessation for the Oduduwas or the Afeniferes. But Sunday Igboho is a free man today. Asari Dokubo was also fighting for his people. Asari Dokubo was charged for treason Asare Dokubo is a free man today. We have the likes of Ateke Tom. Today, Ateke Tom is even, blessed with a chieftaincy title. I think he's their king or something.
And
Then we have a lot of them.
contractor.
Yes. So we have Boko Haram terrorists. Boko Haram terrorists today are being pardoned, are being assimilated into Nigerian army. But why is Nnamdi Kanu's continued detention? Exactly the same way that today Alamesia is a criminal. Ibori is a criminal. Ekwaremadu is a criminal. Though I don't want to speak for Ekwaremadu, but I can see some injustice going on there. Then we have the Ziani is a criminal. All of them, what do they have in common? They are from Southeast. They are from Biafra land. And today, as we are speaking, Onyema, hold on. We know Biafra. We know where Biafra was, Mr. Oga. So today they're on the case of Allen Onyema. Because why? It's Onyibo. Now we have what they call him. On the other hand, we have Atiku, the likes of Atiku. We have the likes of Ganduje. We have Buhari. We had what they call him, their today's president, Tinubu.
Abdul Rashid Mena, the pension thief.
There was one. CM, I think you can remember. You can help me remember the name that ran to the UK, and they went to UK to rendition him, and the UK government asked them to bring him back to the UK. He's a free man. He was a free man. But today we are talking about an Igbo man being extraordinarily rendition, and somebody is telling me that it's because it's justice, fairness. Which justice and fairness? Is simply because he's an Igbo man, and the same court found him not guilty. The same court actually awarded some money to be paid back to him, and then his case is being referred back to the same court that passed a judgment in his favor. All those people that I just listed, they are all free men today, but Nnamdi Kanu, and you are not telling me that it's because of justice. Which justice are we talking about? It's simply because he's an Igbo man.
Thank you very much.
Gentlemen, let me close with it. Jagun, you said that you can give Nnamdi Kanu, you can destroy Nnamdi Kanu with argument in terms of Biafra, right? Unfortunately, Nnamdi Kanu is in detention. Simon Eba, I can help you set up a debate between you and Simon Eba on the Biafra matters. Please give me your take. I can help you.
Jagun, please. You have to.
Can I make my comment also?
I said nothing.
No, can you refrain from eating, please? Thank you very much.
Oh no, I took the camera away.
Okay, all right.
Can I say something?
Wait, KJ, you will say something. Hold on, KJ, hold on.
We have some new people.
Now my turn now. It's my turn after Kenneth.
You see, that is quiet. We have some new people coming in. Mr. Jefferson, welcome to the show. And Uncle Pansab. Mr. Jefferson, you had the discussion. You don't need me to introduce it. I'll give you 5 minutes to weigh into this, please. The floor is yours.
All right, can you guys hear me very well?
Yes, loud and clear, please.
Oh, okay, very good. Yes, I saw these days the world is a global village, and I saw this topic, and I decided, okay, wow, Southeast, and South wants to discuss why Nnamdi Kanu is in detention. I'm very happy we are discussing this thing, because it actually gives me some level of concern.
Andrew, please put me backstage. I'll come later.
It actually gives me some level of concern. What do I mean? Most of us were born in the 70s. In fact, let's not lie to ourselves. All of us in this audience, most of us are born within the 60s and the 80s. If I'm not mistaken, all of us here are born within the 60s and the 80s in terms of age.
Don't be too sure.
Except there are some. Okay, sorry about that. Wait, with due respect, I'm just doing an estimation. And why am I talking about the age bracket? So many things have been said. The people who are our elders that are here knows better how Nigeria was just slightly after the Civil War. And maybe some people were very, very young. They saw so many things firsthand. Just imagine, okay, let me speak for myself. Some of us were born in the 80s, and we heard stories, accounts of stories. And stories have been passed on and passed on and passed on. And it's not news that after the Civil War, majority of the Igbos left. Some that got their business, or some that went to collect their what they had as millionaires or whatever. They were told that no matter what you do, what we're giving you is 20 pounds, including my own grandfather. As I speak to you, my grandfather was among those who are affected, and some of my other relatives. And this was to be a country. And unfortunately, even the people that they call themselves South, of course, they needed a new identity, because anything that is identified with Igbo is seen as a stigma. Well, some of us, we grew up, we saw these things, and we're young, we didn't understand until later in our lives. And if I'm not mistaken, from 1970 till now, if I had to do some estimation, that should be about 54. Is it 54 years? Please, can anybody help me? That's 54 years after the Civil War. If we're a reasonable country, we're supposed to learn from the aftermath, right? And see how we can make amends. Unfortunately, our fathers trashed the whole thing. They trivialized it and make it look like, oh, we have settled, as far as we can hang around ourselves, there's no problem. But they failed to address the critical matters. And even when some of the Igbos went to go and establish back again after the spoils of war, we're still being seen as, oh, okay, Omo Igbo or whatever, or Nyamiri, all over the country, and it tringles. And then when they tell us about tribalism, they will make it look like, oh, it's a lie, maybe it's just some few people. But the reality is, across the masses and across the elites, is still there. There's this fear. And of course, I don't need to tell you, look at the last election that happened, right? It's an aftermath. Imagine an imam in the north coming out and telling their fellow people that, look, if you vote Obi, you are voting for Biafra. And they bought it. Nigerians bought it. I kid you not. The videos are there. Go and check them now. They bought it. And of course, we all know what happened in the election. But the reason why I came here is because of the key issue with Nnamdi Kanu. Yes, he was vocal, he said all manner of things. But let us not deceive ourselves. We all know why he said all this because of injustice. He said all this because of injustice that happened in the past. And of course, that's why people had to key into it. And when people now keyed into it, of course, we knew that what the Buhari administration stood for. He knew what it stood for, and it didn't really, there was no direction. And that's why we're in this mess today, because there's no sense of direction where we're going today. So to be honest with you, who is holding who now? I believe, and let me tell you, in all this madness, we have sellouts, even within the Southeast. I'm sorry to say, I'm from Southeast, I'm an Igbo man, obviously, from Imo State. We have a lot of injustice amongst ourselves. Someone can sell you for a morsel of bread because there's nobody, So, and once we have so many sellers, what do you expect? Sellers they'll because what they want to gain. So I believe it's like it's two sides. People selling us, obviously, people poking us in the eyes, and people killing us from within. You understand? And so that's why, and again, to be honest with you, with all the nonsense happening in Nigeria today, I feel that guy needs to be released because, of course, he was put in jail. The way he even came to Nigeria is but they are afraid. They are afraid because if they release him now, if they're going to release him, they are afraid maybe they're going to start another country. And I'm like, wow. Are these people for real? But I don't know. I don't know what they want to do. It's left for them whatever they want to do. It's just that they need to do right by the people. They need to do right by the people and let the people decide. And even Nnamdi Kanu has even said it. It's not even about him anymore. It's about we. If the country needs to continue, let Nigeria, they need to really come to terms, because to be honest with you, if they continue the way they are going, we're just heading to the ditch.
Thank you very much.
To the ditch. So I mean, it's just what I have to say for now.
Thank you. And thank you for joining in. In no particular order, after Mr. Pansat speaks for 5 minutes, I will go to KJ. Okay, Jagun has left, and I will go to, after KJ, it will be CM. And after KJ, CM, after CM, Jagun. After Jagun, Mr. Tony, okay, then Kenneth, then we'll come back to Jefferson. Now, this is Uncle Pansat. Good evening, welcome to the show. The floor is yours. You got 5 minutes, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pastor Electricity, for putting up your show. Once in a while, I do come on that section when I'm not ready to go on the cam, and you make it a duty not to let me in there. You are an officious oath when it comes to me, right? Which is okay. But let me say that the problem, electricity. Let me say something that it's controversial. What am I gonna say?
Sorry, Pansat. Can you adjust the camera a bit? It's kind of yeah, much better. Thank you very much.
Okay, good. Actually, I know you could hear me very well. So this is actually I learned to do this from CM. I don't think I need it. If you need it, I put it on. But listen to what I'm saying. What I'm gonna say now is gonna be controversial, but it's true, right? I'm doing it as a service to Nigerians. Let's not beat around the bush. All the problems we have, 100%. I cannot, for example, we don't have electricity. It's gonna be because of what I'm gonna say. Let me congratulate you, Mr. Jefferson, for you gave a good speech to touch on some of the stuff. But all this is window dressing. Nigeria, we're blessed with everything by God. We have human beings, human resources. We have everything in that country, right? We have fair people. I heard somebody earlier saying we don't have leaders. We have great leaders. What do you want? We have a lot of good leaders in Nigeria. For those of us who went to high school, usually the people they pick to be a monitor, a classroom monitor, they have usually the best you could have. Americans didn't even have people like that, and they normally grow up to be very good characters. If you have a classroom monitor or senior prefect or a prefect even in our high schools, right? Secondary school. But we only have one problem, and anybody else who's talking about anything else is just making noise here, and they know we have a problem. What is the problem that we have with Nnamdi Kanu and all that stuff? We don't have courts, for example. We don't have electoral bodies. The problem we have is Boko Haram. Boko Haram is not the ones that carry AK-47 alone to go and shoot people up, right? That's Boko Haram. But you have Boko Haram judges. Here's the meaning of Boko Haram. Western education is bad. It's haram. You understand? That's what it means. So once you believe that Western ways of doing something is unacceptable, if you're a judge, you're a Boko Haram judge. If you are a host here, right? You're a Boko Haram host. You don't believe in Western ways of doing something. Now, Western ways of doing something, what do they mean by that? Like the jurisprudence, for example, right? It's misnamed because Igbo left their place and ran around the world. They picked up all kinds of things. So they're forever precluded from saying they own anything. It's usually human intelligentsia. It's what they call Boko Haram. So I was making the case yesterday that Christians should not be judged by a Muslim, right? It's controversial, but it's true. I gave the example, and I'm going to question any of you here who are you grimacing, you don't like to hear it. If you go right now, you assemble Hamas judges, and you bring in Jews into their courtrooms to decide their fate.
Sorry, Mr. Pansat, I just need to get something you just said now. You will continue. Did
Yeah.
you just say a Muslim judge should not judge Christians or the other way around? Can you? I need.
Muslim judges should not judge Christians
All right.
because
Go ahead.
they,
No, go
they
ahead.
don't
I just want
believe,
to pick that. Go ahead.
yeah, they don't believe in the Western jurisprudence. They didn't go to law school like you and I will go to law school. You go to Harvard or you go to the University of Lagos or whatever it is. You go to normal classroom and you learn the law. They went to Sharia places, you know. Some of them didn't even never seen a classroom. I mean, a law classroom in their whole lives. For example, the last Chief Justice that we had there that replaced Onegan. So when Buhari came into office, the first thing he did was to remove Chief Justice Onegan, who's a Christian from the South. And then he put in a Sharia judge. So now, how do you identify a Sharia judge in Nigeria? If he's a Muslim, it's a Sharia judge. Here in the United States, where we are, that is where the system that we copied, ipsissima verba, the Constitution of the United States. If I walk into a courtroom, right, and there's for their process going on for somebody to determine my guilt or innocence, I could look at the jurors. First of all, we have a jury system. You have to be tried by a jury of your peers. That is very, very important. It's sacrosanct. Not a jury of your enemy, a jury of your peers. So when they do for that process means that you're selecting the people who are gonna be, say here in California, it's 12 jurors. In Texas, it may be 7 or 9 or something like that. Different jurisdictions. But anyway, so you could take a look at somebody and say, you know what, I don't want this guy to see my judgment for cause, and they're gonna toss him out. Sometimes you have preemptory. You have 2 whacks at it, two sessions. You could remove anybody. You could remove a judge. You could say, no, I don't want this judge. I think this judge is going to be prejudicial to my case. So once you know, for example, why I'm talking about the Sharia thing is that if Muslims believe that Western ways are unacceptable to them, and they finagled in 1999 their Sharia law into our system, 12 northern states decided that they don't want our system, so they put in their Sharia law into their own thing to decide their stuff. Now you have to know what is a Sharia law. They have about 5 categories, right? They have ones that are obligatory.
Mr. Pansat,
Yeah.
can you hold that thought on Sharia law? Reason why I say you should hold that thought is, in the next broadcast, we'll be focusing on the Sharia law enshrined in Nigerian Constitution. If you can hold that thought and bring it on the next time we're having this discussion, it will be very, very helpful. Like I said, the next discussion is going to be based on the Sharia law enshrined in the Nigerian Constitution. But I need you to answer this. I mean, to clarify your position on this. You said a Muslim judge should not preside over a Christian case. Have you reviewed every case or cases that Muslim judges presided over a Christian? Do you have one or anyone?
That's all of them. Basically,
have you read the case? Have you read the cases?
I have. I wouldn't say all of them, but I have a flavor of it. But I will answer that. Let me just conclude my remarks, because I know you want to go around again. So let me just conclude, right? I will join that panel when you talk about the Sharia law, but let me give you
the next broadcast.
Okay, let me just at least give you the category, right? I'm not going to discuss it. Here is, most people hear Sharia law. What is it? It is categorized into about 5, right? Some are obligatory. You have to do it, right? Now, we're going to discuss what those are. You have to do it. If you're a governor, if you're a judge, if you're sitting on a panel to decide our election, even though it's not a Sharia court, you have to, when you have this discussion, you have to distinguish between a Sharia judge and a Sharia court.
Okay,
right?
Mr. If you go down, let's hold this thought for next broadcast.
All right, so let me one is obligatory, then they have one that's recommended, they have one that's permitted, there's one that's discouraged, and then finally there's one that's forbidden. Now that forbidden one is the one they call like a Western education comes under that category. It's forbidden, right? It's haram.
Okay.
So
Well,
what I started
Mr.
off saying,
again, Mr. Pastor, if your time is up, we will deal with this Sharia law.
okay,
Honestly,
but can I conclude then?
I will have you as I will have you as my guest.
Okay, I'll be there. I'll be there. But
listen,
let me conclude. I've made a lot of controversial statement here, but let me conclude by saying this. I said that we have no other problem. Electricity, there's nothing for you to run to. Nnamdi Kanu, or if elections are held and they turn up the beavers, or if whatever, if we budget money to build monuments, right? We must solve the problem which we have, which is the intersection of Islamic tradition and then the Western normal everybody's tradition.
Thank you very much.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I have to interject. Electricity, I'm so sorry I have to interject. I'm so sorry, guys. Pansa, you have said, we have, of course, we obviously have issues with religion. Guys, I'm so sorry I have to interject. But I can tell you one thing for a fact.
Jefferson, hold on. You say we're trying
No. I just something I want to say so you understand. Because, of course, there's something I want to say. So, no offense. It's not, I don't mean to interrupt, but I just have to say this. To be honest with you, with all these so-called laws, even the so-called Muslims that are currently practicing it know fully well that it's not even solving their problem right now. Right now, they are even going, in fact, right now they are in a state of chaos. They are in a state of chaos. And if you check the Middle Eastern world right now, most people that have all these practices, majority of them are running away from their country, are going into countries like, of course, America, Europe, and all that, to have a breath of fresh air. You really think they love it? They don't. It's not really solving the problem. But I can tell you one thing. Yes, they might use it as a face. They might use it as a face to say, that this is the problem, religion, laws, and all that. But I can tell you one thing. That is, yes, it's still part of it. They might want to enforce some laws of which everybody is not going to stomach, because at the end of the day, Nigerians, no matter how crazy things are, there are some things we are not going to tolerate. If not, everything is going to be dissolute. But I can tell you one thing for a fact, that all those religion things is not, in fact, it's really far away, because at the end of the day, most of them are still dying with this Boko Haram insurgency, what they call it, Fulani herdsmen and banditry. Everything has not ended. It has not made anything different.
I have to stop you there, please. Gentlemen, if you have time before the next broadcast, please kindly take a read at the Sharia law enshrined in the Constitution. We're not going to be going outside that Constitution, okay? It's a very sensitive and very controversial issues, and we have to keep open mind. Pastor, I hope you've agreed to be the guest, and we'll have you here.
Could I tap off what I just said? Could I just tap it off and then I'll leave?
No, Pastor, you can't do that. Yeah, KJ, the floor is yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I've been waiting for this long to make this.
My apology, my boss, please. Sorry about that.
No problem. Now, I wanted to ask Jagun something, and I don't need an answer from you, but you can think about it. I don't know how many of Nnamdi Kanu's broadcasts that you listen to. Well, for me, I listen to almost everything that he had to say. And before I started listening to him, it was a broadcast he made and mentioned certain things my late father had told me, which unless you are a bona fide, Igbo man, you don't know that story. You don't know that story. And so from that day, I said, this guy knows something I don't know. And I started listening to almost every broadcast, back to back, to the point that my son, who was then 5 years old, knows Nnamdi Kanu's voice. Now, I'm saying that to say that you said you would take Nnamdi Kanu 1,000 pieces apart. I'm definitely too sure that will never happen. Because even Nigeria as a nation, when Nnamdi Kanu challenged them to a debate, Catherine, what's her name? Former ambassador to Nigeria from British ambassador, advised, because then, what's his name? Lai Mohammed was getting ready to bring in people to come and debate Nnamdi Kanu, and the woman advised Nigeria not to even try that because he will floor them. That's what she said. That's the word she used. He will floor you people. So if you're talking about understanding and knowledge, I don't think the person of Nnamdi Kanu is the person you're referring to. You probably say that you don't like his lingo. It's okay. And like I've said many times before, not everybody will like the language of a freedom fighter. Not everybody will like the language of people who are looking for freedom, because it is something that is not an ordinary person that does. I cannot do what Nnamdi Kanu is doing. I cannot do what what's his name, Simon Ekpa is doing. I may be gifted in another direction, but in that direction of confronting the system in the way and the manner they have done, I don't have that ability, so I respect them for that. Secondly, there was a time I came onto this panel, people came and were saying certain things about Nnamdi Kanu. I said, look, if you, me, in my community, I think if I count the members of my community, there may not be more than, maybe more than 10,000 or 20,000 people live in that community. I can't ask them to not to go to their farm one day and they will agree not to go. So if a man can make a whole Southeast to sit at home, whether you like it or not, that person deserves some respect, because he's not paying them. He's not a political leader. He's not giving them anybody any money. He's just simply telling you the truth. And if a man in that nature can also awaken the consciousness of both the North, the South, the East, the West, I think he deserves some respect. There are people who have that understanding, which he has. They never sold it to the people to open their eyes. So if this young man has come to do this to the point that people's eyes have been opened, then I think he deserves some commendation. Whether you agree with him or you don't agree with him. That's the truth. Because some of the people who claim to be freedom
I'm
fighters,
not sure of your question or indeed what you are saying.
I'm making a submission. I've just simply asked that question. I've gone through, left that long time ago. Now, the people, some of the people calling themselves freedom fighters right now, if we go down their history, they didn't start like Nnamdi Kanu started. I mean, Nnamdi Kanu wasn't lacking money. It wasn't that he was looking for, he could have lived in affluence, throughout his life. He decided to step into what he's doing now. So I commend him for that. Now, coming back to whether his detention is, it is obviously certain that because of the region of Nigeria that he belongs to, that what happened, and is still happening the way it is happening today. If you remember, there was a one certain governor called Samuel Otom, who the Fulanis more than almost killed him 3 times, who was ever prosecuted. Despite all his calling for investigation, was anything ever done out of that? Because again, he is one of the people who belong to the side nobody wants to hear. And so, whether you may not agree, but me coming from the East, I know that if Nnamdi Kanu had not taken the step he took, and now brought in those people who he called the IPOB members who are in the forest, the whole of the Southeast will have been a different place today. The same thing they are trying to do in Imo
Yes.
State extended to the East. You already know that Imo State have the biggest reserve of gas in Nigeria. And so now the quest to implant people in Imo State is something that cannot be matched with anything. So this is the plan. And that plan has been foiled by and large by the actions of Nnamdi Kanu. What we are simply saying is, if your court, the court of Nigeria, can hold a man with all your apparatus of security for 3 years, you've not been able to find how to prosecute him in your own court. You have not been able to find him guilty in your own court. Of what right do you have to continuously hold him, and prevent him from moving on with his life? It's a simple question. It is not him who is going to, you accuse him, you arrange him, you charge him. You have all the apparatus of government, the military, the police, the justice department, and yet you've not been able to find something that can stick. Where will it be
Can I
done?
ask you a question, KJ? Let me ask KJ a question, right? If are we supposed to wait in perpetuity?
Pastor, hold on 1 second.
Let me just ask my question.
You will ask him the question. Hold on 1 second, please. I want to highlight something. You will ask the question. Eccentric, welcome to the show. I want to highlight something, and I want us to go in that direction. Pastor T will ask. Okay, no, Pastor, ask a question first, please. Just make it brief. A question, please.
Yeah, KJ, with all due respect, what I'm saying is that if this northern Muslims come and they capture one of our sons, right, with connivance of Britain, and they're embarrassing us everywhere, and they're buying our people, right, and other people, for example, the Shiites of Zaria, they don't have to do anything else, for example, to release him or find him guilty. Holding him is a provocation. You understand what I'm saying? Holding him there is the provocation. They've done all they want to do. They don't have to do anything else. So we're not going to be there in perpetuity while we're talking nonsense about everything else. The point is that we don't have a judiciary.
Pastor, are you going to ask your question? You said you want to ask KJ a
my
question.
question to him was, are we supposed to wait until there's a resolution, or it's just holding him without obeying the court orders, and we have no trust and faith in the judiciary?
KJ, sorry, thank you for the question. I don't need you to answer that question. You answer that question later on, please.
No, I will forget. Please, if you don't mind.
You won't forget. This is part of the question. This is part of the question Pansat asked, which I just highlighted. So, I will start with Eccentric that just joined. Then I will go to Mr. Tony. I'll come to KJ. Kenneth is off there, so it's not on the screen. So let me put
I think I would have forgotten my question. So
no, this is the same question. Yeah, this is the question that Pansat asked. Okay, what can anyone do to speed up its release to date? Let's just look at that question. We're taking the bot out. CM, hold on 1 second. What is it, CM? Tell me, what did you lose now?
No, you are trying to do Yakubu here. You said after KJ, it will be me. No, that's how you started now.
No.
This one, I'm Mahmoud. Oh, no.
No, CM, can't CM, wait. You see, when I saw this comment, I think we've deliberated on the issue of Kanu and his detention. What is important now is, you will agree with me, what is important now is, what can anyone do to speed up his release? What can anyone, all the people, TM, it's not your turn to talk. You will speak. I'm changing the please, I'm appealing to you. I know you have a lot. Listen, I'm going to make it a free flow discussion later on. So you can be here till 4 a.m. in the morning, and there's no any broadcast schedule after. But I want us to look at this, then we'll go back to a free flow discussion. Is that okay, CM? Are you okay with that? If you don't mind, please. Thank you for your understanding. I love you too. Eccentric.
Boy.
What can anyone do to speed up its release? Eccentric, the floor is yours, boss.
Well, to be honest, I don't know what anyone can do to speed up his release. But this is a quote from Noam Chomsky. If you guys know who he is, Noam Chomsky, he has a quote that's pretty remarkable, and it has something to do with this particular case. He said, if we don't believe in freedom of expression for people we despise, we don't believe in it at all, right? And Nigerian constitution was constructed using, American constitution. Therefore, freedom of expression is also enshrined in the Constitution of Nigeria, right? I know, like, most of the things that he was saying were inciting violence, but it's freedom of expression. As long as he did not carry out any act of violence, I don't think he should be persecuted for that. This is what makes a civilized country, right? Freedom of expression should be enshrined in the Constitution. It should be a right for everyone, right? Regardless of what like in America here, there are people who incite, who have extreme views, right? But for the fact that they don't, they don't carry out violence act, they are not persecuted. Even though we've seen cases where, like for instance, the Uhuru movement, Biden's government is going after the Uhuru movement because of their belief that the Russians are sponsoring the movement, even though there is no proof of that, right? I think that should be. It's kind of like a shame, you know what I mean, for Nigeria, to persecute someone based on what they were saying. Personally, I'm not a fan of Nnamdi Kanu. That has nothing to do with the law. My personal opinion has nothing to do with the law. So based on the law, I don't think he's done anything wrong. As long as he did not commit any act of violence, I think they should let him go. And holding him in custody, actually make him a martyr. It actually makes his case for him, and it creates more followers for him. If the government, if they're smart, they would have approached it in a different way instead of trying to lock him up, because locking him up does not achieve any goal, right? It does not stop his messaging. It doesn't stop his movement. It actually makes it more better. It kind of creates cognitive dissonance for for those who are against what he was saying, right? Because you could say, well, if Nnamdi Kanu, if he was wrong, why is the government, if he was wrong, why is the government trying to shut him down, right? Trying to shut him down means that he's kind of right. So, in this with this premise, I think I believe that the government should let him go and find a better way to actually find a better way to dissuade the people that he's convincing to do anything that's in the detriment of the country's stability, right? That's my submission.
Thank you very much. KJ, are you there? Okay. KJ has gone into hibernation. Mr. Tony, the floor is yours. What can be done? Can anyone do to speed up his release?
Well, my view is that the case is the case between Nnamdi Kanu and the federal government. So the federal government is who are prosecuting him are the ones that can withdraw the case from the court. Case between Nnamdi Kanu and the federal government. Yes. So the angle to look is to see how the federal government can be lobbied through the Attorney General and Minister for Justice to persuade the president, who has the power to order the court to release Nnamdi Kanu or stop the trial, and then whatever follows, can be resolved, because that is what we have seen done with other cases, other individuals in various parts of the country. Al Mustafa was in prison for, you asked me, for 15 years, starting from 1996. But the court freed him. And I guess it was because there was intervention. So the president has the power and the authority to stop the prosecution and let the man go. And then any other talk can follow. Abaribe has done a good job. He bailed him initially, stood bail for him. He is the senator. He has done what he could, and he's still doing what he can. But I think that all efforts must be made to ensure that the man is released, and that's my position.
Thank you, sir. I'll come to you, CM. CM, you know the question I asked, what can be done? Can anyone do? Should the South versus Southeast, or the Biafran or the Igbo, should they protest, go to the State House or the Aso Rock, and or the Chief Justice Office, and protest to have him released speedily?
Well, the thing is, it still does not distract from the view I hold, that I hold the view strongly. I'm immovable on it. He's just there because he's Igbo. It's as simple as that. Now, Nnamdi Kanu is used as a symbol to prolong the hatred against Ndigbo. It's quite obvious. I said there's no Nigerian, whether living or dead, that has been renditioned extraordinarily. No Nigerian. That's one. Secondly, no Nigerian, living or dead, has been renditioned and made to go through trial. Number three, there is no Nigerian that has been renditioned and made to go through trial from High Court, Appeal Court, Supreme Court, and be made to go back again and start afresh from the High Court. It's only an Igbo man. There is no Nigerian living or dead that the court, a Nigerian court, gave bail. Go and prepare for your case and come back on so day. And a battalion of soldiers invaded his father's compound, wanting to, and slaughtered 28 people, including a dog. It has never happened in Nigeria before. It's only in Nnamdi Kanu, simply because he is Igbo. It's as simple as that. So
it had the same thing happen with Sunday Igbo, and they tried to wait.
Hey, listen. Hey, please, listen. Sunday Igbo was never given bail. Nobody, they are not the same thing. Sunday Igbo, what you will
calm
tell
down.
me, listen, please, excuse me, please. Don't just excuse me. Let me make my point.
Okay, don't calm down.
This is my thought. Yes. And so I want what I will take to be the similar, exactly the same thing is a Nigerian charged to court, standing trial, giving a bail. You go back to your house, and the battalion of soldiers came when you were enjoying your bail. It has never happened. No Nigerian was ever given a bail. While you enjoying your bail, a battalion of soldiers come and invaded your house. It has never happened.
Hold on 1 second. You are going to continue. You continue. The floor is yours. Mr. Pansat, what you do for me, if you don't mind, is you're not going to have an opinion because I'm making you the moderator for the meantime. And Kenna is not here, KJ is not here. But you don't have an opinion. The question is, what can we do? What can anyone do speedily to release Nnamdi Kanu? You do not have an opinion, Mr. Pansat. You are moderating. Thank you. I yield the floor back to you. CM, Pansat, I'm behind. You are moderating. Thank you.
Gentlemen, I'll be leaving. I wish everybody well.
Mr. Tony, thank you very much, and we shall catch up our usual way. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, having established these facts, it's incontrovertible. Nnamdi Kanu is the only person because he's Igbo. So, asking me now, what can we do to quicken his release? God. The way we answer it is to quote what Chief Dan Olas said on AIT. That in Nnamdi Kanu, if anything happens to him, the gods are wise. Thank you.
All right, who's next? I'm not allowed to have an opinion. How is he going? KG, are you back here? Let's go to Jegun then. Jegun, the way we're going to do this, because I don't want too much confusion, I don't want to talk a lot, aside from what we're talking about. We're going to go from Jegun, going clockwise, right? Until
good man. Thank you, Pansat.
Not at the centric. All right, go ahead.
Thank you. I don't know if KJ is still around. He asked a question about myself and Nnamdi Kanu having a discussion. Now, you know, the way he spoke it as though, again, Nnamdi Kanu is a different species of human being. He's not. He's just a human being, like the rest of us. I really dislike the way some people put in their mind that there are people that are above. You see, we Nigerians, we are part of the bloody problem. We have this deference for certain things, and then we have disrespect for others. Whether or not it's accurate or not, we don't even care. For me to have a discussion, you know, my guy, well, he's younger than me, and that doesn't matter. The youth or age does not matter. But he's about a couple of years younger than me. So am I listening to him? I'm listening to him very well. He said, I don't know how many of the thing that you have listened to, but I have listened to all of them. So bloody what? Does that mean that you know more about him than anybody? Go and sit down with rubbish. My pursuance is when I'm listening to another human being, I am listening to everything that they say. And in my listening, I know where I have my objections to what they are saying. And upon this, I can have a discussion with anybody on this planet. I hesitated to swear. I don't know how you people see things. Nnamdi Kanu is in an area of what did he call it? Social. I don't know what he called it, but I don't believe that you're even understanding yourself. Why can I not have a discussion with him where we are at different ends of the scale? Because what? He's more than a human being. He's just a human being. Now, if you listen to what I said earlier properly, because you only took up that small bit of what I said. If you listen to what I said to you guys, I have no idea why this guy is still in prison. Neither do the Nigerian government have any idea why he's still in prison. They don't. But I'll put to you this, just to try and balance this conversation that we're having. Could it be, and this is just a question, because I know people are going to freak out. Could it be that Nnamdi Kanu, as far as the Nigerian government is concerned, stands as more of a threat to them than anybody else in that game? Could it not be that? I won't take away the fact that maybe the Nigerian government do not like Igbo. I don't, that aside, you people who are Igbo will take that upon for yourself. However, the way the Nigerian government is, somebody like Nnamdi Kanu, with his level of vitriol, with his level of pointing, is a direct threat to the government. And upon that direct threat to the government, many people who are not even Igbo would join Nnamdi Kanu in threatening the government to be just. We know that the Nigerian government is not just. So that's why he's there. So in that, how do you speedily get somebody like that out? Well, if you're thinking at all, we understand that unless there's a level of support that is galvanized to petition for his release, and when I say petition, I mean in all levels, politically, agitation-wise, coming out into the street and being vocal about his release, then I don't know that anybody's really doing that. I maybe I'm wrong, I don't know, but I haven't seen it where people are coming out into the street and supporting Nnamdi Kanu's release. We are all in our houses saying what we're saying. We're not doing anything. All we're doing is creating more enmity between ourselves as people. I've put it to this panel before. The way the map of Nigeria as left by the Europeans that we still sustain, this is a major problem in that country. There is no area that really gives an example of unity or of progression in that country. We know that we are a country of
2 minutes, Jagan, 2 minutes.
Thank you. We know that we are a country of many ethnicities. In the South, whether we like it or not, between the Yorubas in the far west, the Igbos in the east to the Calabas, even further east, there is more affiliation between these ethnicities than in the ethnicities that are in the Midwest or in the core North. But yet still, we stupid Nigerians, and we are fucking stupid, we stupid Nigerians have not formed in our mind how to come together in order to increase our power. I put it to you people, if there was a strategy that was Yoruba Igbo, there's a strategy with the Fulanis put in place, very wisely of them, who are a minority. They call themselves Hausa Fulani. They even put Hausa first, heavily. And they joined a very large group of people in order to insert their power. Yet Igbo and Yoruba are quarreling like fucking idiots all day long. I don't know why you people don't look at it properly. We in that stupid country have to come to alignment that is ours. We have to come to a geography that is ours. We have to come to a politics that is ours. But what we do stupidly enough is either to join the East in their Islamic pursuit or the West in their pursuit of horror that they do all around the world. We haven't identified ourselves at all. But for Igbo and Yoruba to be quarreling, let's wave the flag for that all day long. Waste of time. Rubbish people with rubbish thinking. Rubbish people with rubbish thinking. All that thinking doesn't lead us anywhere. I don't like the Yoruba because this, that. Rubbish. Oh, the Igbos, this, that. More rubbish. When are we going to come to sense that we only have one country? We can break it up and spoil it if we want. We can do that if that's what we believe. You know, if our pride is so much that we believe that we're beyond the human state. You're not beyond the human state, for goodness sake. You're just another idiot human being walking around fatlessly upon this earth.
30 seconds.
If we have, thank you, brother. Let me just round up like this. I've spoken about how it is possible for us to galvanize if we believe that Nnamdi Kanu is being unfairly held in detention without law being assumed in any way for so long. We're supposed to come out and make sure he as an, imagine any of us being in prison and really nobody cares, yet we have no real charge against us. We're left to our mind. You know, when you are in prison or enclosed or by yourself, things happen to your mind, things happen to your physique, things happen to your spirit. So to be held there without charge, to be held there as an innocent, which is how we have to see him, to be held there as an innocent is a failing not just of our government, but us as people. I'll put it to you like that.
Good submission. Mr. Jefferson, did you speak earlier, or do you want to go before I go to Man of Prestige? Did you speak earlier? Mr. Jefferson, can you hear me?
Oh, yes, I can hear you. Sorry, a call just came in. So
did you speak when I spoke, or you want to take 2 minutes to say something before I go to Man of Prestige? Do you have something to say?
Hello? Okay.
Yeah, I'm going clockwise, but you're somewhere in there. 2 minutes.
I'm here. Okay, sorry about that.
Yeah.
A call just came in. I need to do that. Jagun, first of all, I want to thank you for what you said regarding identity crisis. You know, unfortunately, that card has been played before and after the Civil War. And it's unfortunate that we have learned absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
We have learned absolutely nothing. To the extent that even up till now, we're still doing Omoibo, Ndi Mbati, and all that nonsense. We still do that in 24th century, and we expect things to change. You know? So let me just go quick because of the how to get Nnamdi Kanu out. To be honest with you, I just tell you the truth that unfortunately, I'm sorry to say this, but the federal government is playing with fire. A fire. Of course, you know fully well that if that guy, if anything happens to him, Nigeria knows what they are looking out for. He's held out of his will right now, which is not right, and they have been playing about it. You know, the courts are not being fair. Look at the judiciary. Judiciary is not being fair right now. So I feel that if they want to get that guy out, all they need to do is they need to come to terms to the fact that there need to be some massive level of dialoguing. Yes, they need to understand that. They need to come to terms to that and find a way to just release him. There's no time for that. Unfortunately, during the time of Buhari, it was kind of difficult because unfortunately, Buhari had the mindset of how will I put it? He had this stiff mindset of, oh, no matter what happens, like the Fulani, they will say, if they don't forgive you, they will never look back. You know, those kind of a thing. So that's exactly what happened. So I said, no matter what this guy do, he's not going to go out of jail. They need to also advise our armed forces. Our armed forces are doing more damage than currently now. And right now they are simply playing with fire because they feel they will always have their way. When they tell them, they will just, oh, no matter what happens, they will. So if there's a court injunction for you to go, they should respect the office. But unfortunately, it's kind of tricky because we don't even know where this thing is coming from. It's just a way of let them just follow court order. The what they call it, that part, is it the petition? It could work too. is another way of looking into it, that a petition can work. If they write a petition and it has a weight, and we all come together and say, let this guy come out, he will definitely come out. But right now, everything stands in the hands of the government. Everything in their hands for them to really realize that, look, they need, in fact, all the top leaders, past, present, they need to really sit down and resolve this issue, because if they don't sit down and come together and find a way to resolve it, the problem is not going to stop. And we're going to have more issues continually. I'm going to stop there for now, because that's just my own opinion about the whole matter. Thank you.
Very good, time-wise at least. Let's go to man of prestige.
Yeah.
I believe it's your first input, so you get 5 minutes for your input here. Go ahead.
All right, thank you, Pansad. I'm greeting everybody. My summation, I'm going to borrow some of the narrative from Eccentric and from CM. Some of the narrative that, they painted here. And the reason why I'm saying that, CM says something about the Igbo, Nnamdi Kanu being an Igbo. Yeah, there's a truth to that to a certain degree. And Eccentric says something about the democracy, which we borrow from the, so-called America, that's what we are practicing. But I don't know if exactly what we are practicing in terms of judiciary and all that kind of things. When you say something, so outrageous, like I didn't really follow Nnamdi Kanu. I can't come here in Barbados, and tell you exactly, what insidious statement he was making during that time. I've always been here, but I know something like that was carried out. So whatever I'm hearing is what people say that he said. I never really read what he said, so I don't have time to do that. But having said that, even I thought he said all those things that they say he said for that tribe and for the government and everything. Yeah, you invite him and interrogate him and ask him why he said that. If there's any one of them that is detrimental, that is real bad, you can prosecute him for that. But in my own opinion, it's not something that warrants years in prison. I mean, how long he's been in prison, and we know what happened, when they went to Umuahia, to his house and all that kind of things. So having said that, this is not about, I know we are very tribalistic people, but it's not about tribe outside Yoruba or whatever. It's the people ruling the country. It's just like what happened during the election. That's when you see all this tribalistic stuff coming up. So that's the people are called, the people in government, the politicians. They are the one holding Nnamdi Kanu, both from every tribe in Nigeria, even the Igbo governors. They are part of it. And they don't want Nnamdi Kanu to be released. This is just strictly my own opinion. They don't want there's some tribalistic coronation to that. The Kabas and someone, they're just afraid of the Igbo. So I'm going to call it what it is. There's no hidden about that. It's not just ordinary people like me or Jagun or other people. We're talking about the elite, the politicians. They are still skeptical of what the Igbo, what the mentality of Igbo people. Judging from what happened, transpired after the Civil War, that is still there. That has not gone away up to right now. So it's just the elite. When I'm saying all this, what I'm saying. So there's a fact to what Eccentric said and the CM said, combine it together. Yeah, you can't hide that truth. I mean, that man should be released right now. It doesn't matter, Jagu or some other people, Jaffa said, what kind of petition we are right. They're not going to listen to you. Nigerian justice is just so corrupt, They're going to do what they're going to do when they decide to do it. Tinubu is in power right now. Tinubu has the right. Tinubu has the power to release him. So nobody can tell me. I know how Nigerian judicial system functions. It's like an emperor. Tinubu can just wave his finger like this, say release him, because everybody's answering to him. The army, the police, or whatever, But he may not do that for political capital. That may be some of the Kaba in the north that don't want him to release. Tinubu he want re-election. He's not going to do that. I mean, look at what had happened to Igbo. We know, whatever they charge him, he wasn't in charge to that extent like they charge Nnamdi Kanu. But that notwithstanding, he's working free. And he went to London agitating for Yoruba nation. Nobody has called him, and questioned him. So, in my own opinion, Tinubu is a coward. It's all about political capital. That's all he's doing. I'm not in his mind. I don't know if he's tribalistic, so I can't come here and say that. But it's all about politics. Even the Igbo politicians are doing the same thing. They are afraid of Nnamdi Kanu to be released. People like my governor who pulls at him, I'm going to point it out. He's probably one of the worst perpetrators, A lot of them, Soludo, all of them, they don't want Nnamdi Kanu to be released because they are scared that he's going to take over their power. What they are enjoying to Nigeria. That's just the bottom line.
1 minute. Panel President, still have 1 minute.
I'm done already. It's just so annoying when it comes to Nigeria. I'm a true Nigerian, but this is what's going on right now, and it's just so annoying. That's why sometimes I don't come here that much. I'm just sick of Nigeria. What's going on in Nigeria? Not the people here. I come here because of people here, my brothers here. But anything about Nigeria, I'm just sick of that country. Okay, I mean every day we lament nothing. Look at right now. Where our leaders? They're all in overseas. Vice president, the three presidents. I mean, we are just nonsense, man. I'm tired of Nigeria. I'm done, okay?
Thank you. KJ, I'm going to hand you back this moderation thing. I'm really not cut out for it. And then
let me chip something.
You are the moderator now, KJ.
Pastor, please, let me chip in something. I know. Some Pastor, thank you. You see, from what people have said here, federal government feel that holding in Nnamdi Kanu is like they want to prevent maybe, it's a danger to them or something he will do. But they don't know that if something happens to him, that thing they are preventing, they will see it 1 million times. Now, I bet them Nigeria will cease to exist. Do you know why?
Bruh, I beg your pardon, Sian. Yep. I know the premise you're coming from. I just want to put this to you. But are you sure about that? Do you not see the weakness of the Nigerian polity? I mean, we may be angry, but we do not go out and protest in a way that depicts our mindset. We don't do it, bruh. I'm not saying to you it will happen one way or the other. I put it to you, bruh.
I get you, Jagu. This is not an INEC supervised election. Everybody can go home. This is about the existence of a people. Do you know what makes Nigeria? I know what you are saying. Do you know why people don't come out like all the nonsense politicians are doing? They can't, because there's no unity of purpose. Let me tell you, within Nnamdi Kanu, there is. Do you know why? A lot of people I know, all they are hearing is, for instance, if you listen to what the first person Jefferson said, that our fathers, after the Civil War, 3R, they promised them reconciliation, reconstruction, rehabilitation. None of them was done, and they kept quiet. That was the agreement that brought the war to an end. Now, these people that are now living, this generation, they didn't hear all those things. They have to address, according to what is this man called, Frank Fanon. Every generation will face the challenge of their time. The present Southeast people, their own challenge is this challenge of identity. When they hear what happened, abandoned property seizure, they come back, you put them in a ceiling where you have to attend. If not, do you know that if there are people that weren't having sympathy for Igbo cause, but with this election last year, a lot of people that I did not even believe. Could you believe obedient headquarters is in Edo State? The people that value P2B more is even Edo people because of what happened. So this has, it's like a coalition is being built by this attitude of the government they are treating in Igbo. It won't be easy. Now, Igbo who went to London to submit a letter, anything that happens to Nnamdi Kanu, that coalition that stopped Biafra is no more there. Igbo who will hoist his own flag, Yorubas will go, Igbo will go their way. So this is what I can assure you. It's as simple as that. That coalition that stopped Ndigbo is no more there. I doubt.
That's a very, very, very good input there. But I think Eccentric should finish because we're gonna go around again. KJ, I don't know if you're ready to actually do the remoderation of time. In essence, timekeeper. That's what I've been doing. You want to be the
you can go ahead, sir. Yeah, so you feel the pain also.
Eccentric, you spoke before, so you got 2 minutes on the question that was posed here is what is it that should be done to have Nnamdi Kanu released? And then we'll go to KG after me. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, based on what I've read, right, the only reason why he hasn't been released is because of the SSS, the person in charge of the SSS, right? Like that's kind of like the Nigerian version of like the FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigation. So the chief judge actually told him to release. I don't know that he's going to hold him in contempt for not allowing Nnamdi Kanu's lawyers to visit him in prison. So I don't know where that's gonna go, because I think that happened in July. Because from what I read, it was in July, but nothing happened. I didn't get any updates on that news. So there's a miscarriage of justice, obviously. Because most of the things that he was charged with, they were kind of stricken out, and I forgot the term that they used. Like he was acquitted, but he wasn't released, something like that. It's just weird. Like reading the whole thing, it's kind of like a Banana Republic type of stuff. It's weird, And I think holding Nnamdi Kanu in custody actually does not achieve what they think that they want to achieve, right? I think what they should do is to actually address all the issues that he raised, right? The issue of poverty in the southeast, issue of poverty in Nigeria, basically. They should actually look at it in general, right? Because people are suffering right now, and they should take that message and I mean, imagine if the government come up with policies that actually elevates the people and go, you know what, we heard you. Now let's implement policies that will help the ordinary people. That might actually counter his messaging of trying to separate, But these guys, they kind of think like American government to an extent, like how this guy, the journalist, I forgot his name, from WikiLeaks, was arrested in London and kept there for so many years without any charges, right? So these guys behave like the Western government, pretty much, like Nigerian government, right? I mean, this is kind of like like I always say that the West is inherently fascist, right? And I think Nigerian government copying a Western system somehow copied the fascistic tendencies, right? Even though we have a democracy, I mean, if you look at the government, clearly there's nothing democratic about it. The people don't have a choice. We don't even pick our leaders. Those guys, cheat their way into the system and become the elite. So I believe that even if the silence Nnamdi Kanu, his messaging will not go away. Other people will crop up. Because this is 1 minute. All right, this is kind of like an outcome of the situation in the country, right? If the poverty persists, if the the economic situation persists, there will be more Nnamdi Kanu in other regions. I mean, they're charging them for terrorism. I don't know on what basis, and they say that they released that the federal government released the case against him, and I tried to look it up, I couldn't find anything. So I don't even know what they're charging him for. From what I read, they said that if Nnamdi Kanu is released, there will be unrest in the East. I don't think so. I don't think there will be any unrest in the East. I mean, the government have all the military, they have everything. They can contain any type of uprising. But instead of doing that, they should address the core issue, which is poverty. Poverty and economic injustice happening in every region, even in the north. Most of the northerners are very poor. I mean, we've talked about this. In terms of education, the north is like way behind compared to every other region. They are very marginalized by few group of people. The elites. I think the people need to rise up. The working people against these elites. We need to actually redefine who the enemies are. It's not tribal people. It's really the elites in all the tribes and all the so-called tribes. The people need to rise against this people. Yeah.
Very good input. Now, before I hand everything over to you, KJ, let me take the prerogative of the chair now to give my own submission.
Yes, so I'll give you 3 minutes, Pansato.
Jacob, thank you very much. I'll take that. Let me say that I go into the minutiae, right? Everybody's speaking in general terms. The reason why Buhari's government was holding Nnamdi Kanu against court orders, court rulings, exoneration, and everything is totally different from why Tinubu is holding Nnamdi Kanu, right? That's a hint that inherent in Jeggo's presentation, which is that it's not really just because Nnamdi Kanu is an Igbo man. That's not the only reason. I said earlier when I came here, the northern Sunni Muslims of Nigeria is the cause of all our problems. That means if Zaki of Zaria, who's a Shia, right, he could be held even if the courts rule that he should be released. They'll hold him. He's not an Igbo man, but he's a nemesis of that religion. It goes all the way to international level where you have Iraq and Saudi Arabia. So when Buhari came in 2015, in December, he went to Zaria and massacred over 1,000 of our fellow citizens who are Shia Muslims. I don't like them, but they have the right as citizens to liberty and life. You can't go there and massacre them like he did. You could dig it on YouTube and you see. And then they held him incommunicado for so long, disobeying Corona, including to bring the body, right? Now, the same thing was applicable to Showore to a degree, right? When Showore was going to his side, he's accused of treason and all kinds of things because he said the word revolution. And he was mistreated, disrespected, his civil rights violated. So it's not Igbo. It depends. We have to know that our judiciary has been captured. Because if the judiciary hasn't been captured by these people who don't believe in Western jurisprudence, the Boko Haram is in our courts. It doesn't matter because if the president, Buhari or Tinubu or whoever the variable is, because the president is a variable, somebody could come in tomorrow. If Jagaban doesn't make it, somebody else will be president. But the judiciary can rule against the president's wishes and caprices and whims. If the president, Tinubu, say he doesn't want Nnamdi Kanu released, the judiciary can and should be able to release him, no matter what it thinks. Well, you have a separation of the branches of government. But the people who are against our democracy, what they've done, and with the complicity of idiots from the South, like the Senate president right now, people like that, they've pretty much erased all the boundaries that come between the branches of government. Now, only animals live in that kind of state. So it's a whole lot more sinister than what we're doing here. It's ominous, it's baleful, spooky. We can't have elections. And a lot of people want to come here and they want to talk nice. Now, I'm going to, because it's a very short time then, right? I'm going to say the milquetoast approach of brushing this thing off, speaking in clannish tribal terms, it's a tradition term. It's a tradition thing. It's Islam versus regular Western Christian, or whatever you may call it. That's the problem. It's in the courts. I said it doesn't have to be a Sharia court to be doing this evil. They want to pick our leaders who do elections. You will see it, or governors. You're going to see many states have many election circles now. They want to pick who is the governor. They want to pick who is the president. So they don't believe in our constitution. They don't believe in democracy. As a matter of fact, you saw me here challenge one of our friends that comes here a lot, more enlightened than most people in the North, who will not go to school, right? They won't appear on panels like this. I go to a lot of panels. Some are friendly to everybody in Nigeria, like this one. But they won't come here to talk because they're counting on us talking and they're being deceitful. So I'm not concerned only about Nnamdi Kanu's release. He's already been through the judicial processes. He's entitled to due process. The courts have found him. Let's just say they've exonerated him pretty much in the trial courts. It's the government that appealed the case. The last time appealed it all the way to the Supreme Court. That Supreme Court ruled that he did not jump bail. They found that he did not jump bail, which is the genesis of some of the charges they brought against him. The court chastised the government for illegally going and reditioning him from Kenya. And they said, you should read this opinion. They chastised them. But then guess what he did? He says, okay, that he's going to return the case still to that lower court, the inferior court. That it's just not cool to cut off his legs. That he's going to return it back there for him to do. Now, that is Incredible. Sharia nonsense. The reason why people go to the only body that has the legal standing to interpret the Constitution is that Supreme Court. Only. They're supposed to say what the law says, but more especially what the law doesn't say that they have the right to do. Right? So if the National Assembly makes laws, that Supreme Court could rule it to be unconstitutional. So if you find that the activity of the federal government of Nigeria was illegal to go and rendition a man from there, you are forever precluded from sending it back to that court to be turned around. So that's where I'm saying that our problem, that's why I'm not doing a la carte anymore, right? If I come on a panel and you're not upset with me, then you don't have blood running in your system, because I'm going to be telling you the truth of what our problem is. But to end it, here's what I'm going to say. It's not going to be up to whether whether we are nice about it, because electricity and others here, you're minorities, right? So you never been to war. You never even been to a protest. You don't know what it is. We've been to war, and we know we could defeat these people in a war. So let me tell you, as they do this provocation, you're never gonna support us, because success breeds success. Nobody should support Biafrans, Igbos, until they really do something to deserve a support. Now that's what I'm saying. Once we do something to show you that the last time what spared this idiocy we have in that country is because of Britain, it's not going to happen again. These people are not going to school. They're not manufacturing anything. They want to choke our democracy. They want to jail all our activists, north, south, east, and west. It doesn't matter. They want to blow all our money, right? And they want to remove the judiciary in our country. When they say release somebody from custody, they can say no, we're not going to do it, right? So we don't have a jury system. They smuggled Sharia into our thing with a joke that it's customary courts. It's where they do marriage stuff and they do civil stuff. But then the judges who are coming up, 99% of northern judges have never seen a classroom that's a law school, like Harvard or something like that, Oxford. They study their religious thing there, here and there, and they handed certificates to go to get it, nominate our judiciary, and the governors nominate them, and then of course they're up there. If we spend 400 billion naira to run an election, they turn off the beavers let me just say this: when our luminaries come to court, they just toss them aside like it's nothing. I'm saying that it's not a protest thing; it's a war thing. Right?
Thank you, Pastor.
That's what's going to happen.
Thank you for standing in for me. I appreciate it. I've lost KJ. I wanted to hand it over to KJ. Gentlemen, I'm going to give you, each of you, you only have, Eccentric, are you there? Eccentric, it looks frozen. Oh, you look, okay. You kind of look frozen, so I wanted to be sure. So I will give each of you 5 minutes, starting from CM, then Jefferson, then Eccentric, then Pansat. So to give your closing argument, please. Thank you.
Well, in my closing argument, is it the South or the Southeast governor that are holding in?
Anything you want to use as your closing argument.
Yeah, this is a closing argument, so it is not. It's the federal government that is holding him. For what reason? Maybe they feel, or they've been living on these phantom lies. Oh, if we release him, he's gonna energize or sort of inspire other people. They will start be agitating for the same thing. In fact, they don't want Nigeria to break up. That the best way to stop Nigeria breaking up is to hold Nnamdi Kanu. So that when you hold him, everything will quieting. And then when it quietens, then Nigeria continues. Okay. But what they've forgotten is that because the awareness Nnamdi Kanu has created about Nigeria has become something of what some of them you can see in the history books. So people have now come to realize that Nigeria is a joke. So as a result of that, everybody is now trying to see people that are benefiting from Nigeria. What can they do to keep on feeding? That releasing in Nnamdi Kanu is like taking away their feeding bottle. Well, that is that is the thing they do not want to know. But to me, as an Igbo, I feel humiliated. To be honest with you, I feel any day I wake up, I just feel I'm diminished as my humanity because Nnamdi Kanu is there. What? You see, do you know why I feel humiliated? At the earlier, even when he was renditioned, the Ohanaeze Ndigbo, to which I respect our leaders, even we sometimes I may not may not agree with them. The man, the former ambassador to Nigerian ambassador to US, Israel and Cyprus, Professor George Obiozo, he went to Buhari. He said, let us do it in a political way because Michael Zekome, the lead counsel, has looked at the case, say, look, there's no point to save face, to save Nigeria from international opprobrium and shame. This is a chap you renditioned. Ordinarily, you shouldn't bring him to court. You have to send him back to Kenya and they apply. And to do it, America is the superpower today, in the only remaining superpower in terms of with a how many $1 trillion economy. Yet America needed, because they arrested Hush Puppy in Dubai, he defrauded the Americans. They want to try Hush Puppy. In trying Hush Puppy in America, Hush Puppy gave them a link that there's a man called Abakari, police officer, who is doing the deal for him. United States, as powerful as they are, they had to apply. Tell Nigeria, we need this person to come. We need this person. We need him to come for trial in US. America could have invaded Nigeria in the midnight and take what they wanted to do. But as a bastion of democracy, they didn't do it. They thought Nigeria said, look, this is diplomacy. They went through Nigerian embassy in Washington, talked to the ambassador through their destiny, and then through the Attorney General, say, we need Abakari to come. Tell us when you are bringing him. We are waiting for him. That is how a country reasons. So to save face, Ozekome say, look at what happened. America is teaching you international law. So you've made a mistake rendition in Nnamdi Kanu. Take him back to Kenya. From there, you apply so that you can come in and do it. Or because it has happened, use political situation and save face. Bring him out. Let us negotiate so that you can save your face and then don't bring your problem to Nigeria. Do you know what Buhari said? I mean, Ozekome advised Ohanaeze Ndigbo. They now went to Buhari as president, said, look, this is what should be done. Buhari said, no, this is what Buhari said. My hands is off. It's in the court. Let the court procedure take its run its full course. Thinking that they will win. The question I also ask people is that, what if the court has pronounced Nnamdi Kanu guilty, that he should spend 20 or 30 years in prison? People would have said, you see it, it's the rule of law. But the court say, let him go, discharged and acquitted, and they are holding him. So that is why the Igbo-ness in me, I feel ashamed. Because it can never happen in Nigeria to any other ethnic group. Never, it can't happen. People draw parallel with anything. There's no parallel to draw within Nnamdi Kanu. No Nigerian has ever been renditioned. No Nigerian has ever been renditioned and asked to stand trial. No Nigerian has ever been renditioned, asked to stand trial, and then they told that the trial you have to go back and start again after getting to Supreme Court. It has never happened before. It has never ever happened. So what are we talking? This is just the Igbo humanity. They are telling us we in the Igbo. We can do anything to what you want. Let me tell you, if Nnamdi Kanu did not come out from their place alive, I'm telling you. You see this thing called GUN. I've never handled it, but like what is the name? Chris Okibo. Is it not Chris Okibo who's the poet? I'm going to try it because this is about my humanity. How can this be? How can this be? And you are still holding him for what? From High Court to Appeal Court, from Appeal Court to Supreme Court, from Supreme Court back to High Court. Where has it ever been done? Not even in US. Pastor, you are in US. Some of you can tell me. Where has it ever been done? Where? In your own court. Why not leave him? Why not let him go? Just to save face, political negotiation to save face. You renditioned him for 8 years, beating him. When Nnamdi Kanu came, when he was brought into Nigeria in the middle of the night, do you know what the Attorney General did? To address a press conference, he spoke in Hausa for 30 minutes to tell the people that they've gotten their enemy. Why not speak in English and then let them go and translate? But he spoke it in Hausa. And you are telling me that as an Igbo, I should be proud of Nigeria. I should be happy. This is humiliation. Every day I drink water, I feel ashamed.
Thank you, sir. Jefferson, the floor is yours, please.
Hello, can you all hear me very well?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
CM, is it at CM hash? First of all, I just want to tell you that, first of all, as far as we're all breathing as human beings, we should hold ourselves high as a being. I put it that way. Okay, let me make it simple. No matter what, nobody's dignity can be trashed to the ground, no matter the state in which that human being is. You see, if there's one thing that Nigeria has taught us, and is teaching Nigeria, irrespective of the outcome, no disrespect for those who are non-Igbos. It has told that irrespective of what they do to us as an Igbo, we'll still stand strong and be successful. It's actually passing a message. It's actually passing a message, and it's not even about being Igbo now. It's about being human and holding the head high and letting them know that no matter the situation, we are going to succeed. We are going to keep on moving on. I can tell you on a global scale, let me even just shock you. JJ Okocha, when he was playing football, is it in Europe? There was a time that the whites hated him so much. And guess what? Go and ask him in person. He will tell you that he made sure he dribbled them and bring them to their knees. And he became an exceptional star. So I speak to you, even Messi, who happens to be a very great footballer, he cut cap for, he dived his heart for JJ Okocha, even though Nigeria did not meet up in the World Cup or international this thing. It's not just that. Even in America, I can see it here. When they try to bring down the black people and all that, they make it look like, oh, the blacks cannot be progressive. But we're all getting progressive. Eccentric, you are a testimony. You know what's going on in the US, so you actually see things for yourself. No matter how they want to bring down the black people will still stand up. So why am I saying all these things? You see, now I'm dealing with the Nigerian project here. I want to say this. For non-Igbos, the Yorubas and Hausas and all, those who are not facing the kind of tribalism that Nigerians are facing, I see it's a wake-up call. Being oppressed or being the oppressor is not good for anybody. People might say, oh, we're enjoying it, oh, because I'm the other side. It is not a good thing, and I don't think it's going to take anybody anywhere. And guess what? Eccentric, I'm sorry I'm calling your name twice. You can even in the US here, all those that say, oh, I'm pro-white, I'm this, I'm that. Yes, we are the decision maker. They don't go. At the end of the day, they are being used. The top 1% is controlling the 99% of the world. Let us think of that for at the moment. It is a construct. It's only a construct at the end of the day. Because when they generate all this hate, it's not as if they are generating the hate for just one people to be good. No, it's for some people from collective, you know. So, CM, I can tell you one thing. Irrespective of what is going on, we'll still stand strong. We're going to stand strong and hold our dignity. No, I've seen so many things. Look, I've seen so many things that can make me get depressed. But I still stand strong and hold my head high and say, look, no matter what these guys do, they are not going to suppress my being. And we prevail. And even the people that are responsible for the oppression and think that they're enjoying it, they're the ones suffering it. In fact, their heart is even getting bitter. And it's unfortunate. I have to say this to let you know why manipulation is not going and why everybody has to speak up, irrespective of who is enjoying the fall. Unfortunately, in Nigerian state, even the Yorubas who even voted for Tinubu, the Yorubas are suffering seriously. In the north, not are even suffering. The white people is suffering in the east, yes. It's just game and tactics. And unfortunately, I saw a video clip in Osun State where people were jubilating that, oh, they are grading a road in 2024. What does that tell you? It tells you how demented. We need to look beyond this. And we need to tell ourselves the truth that oppression does not take anybody anywhere. It only causes more problem. The detention of this guy is going to cause more problem for us as a country. And we cannot have any peace until we address the critical issue. America are not these global worlds today. We will say we have a UN meeting and all of that. They will tell you, oh, there's a summit, there's a G7, blah, blah, blah. When there's an issue within our country, the people that are in the on the global scene, they can be the ones to interject. Like, for instance, now economy, the World Bank are the ones that can interject when our economy is bad. They try to say they can give us advice. Nobody is going to save us. World Bank cannot solve our problem. UN will not solve our problem. It is we that is going to solve our problem by ourselves. And we need to correct our stupidity. If not, it's going to send us to our graves. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Eccentric, the floor is yours. You got 5 minutes. Okay, we lost Eccentric. And okay, Eccentric is back. The floor is yours, Eccentric. You got 5 minutes.
All right. So I don't know if this is a recent news, but the World Bank just gave the Nigerian government 1.5 billion US dollars, right? And the question is, what are they going to do with this money? I don't think this is a good time to actually get loans, because Nigeria needs some kind of reform, right? They need to reform the system and kind of deal with the corruption issues before getting a loan as big as 1.557 billion US dollars, right? Because this money is going to end up in some elephant projects that's not going to be completed, and the people in charge of the projects will take the money, and the cycle will continue. And then Nigerian foreign debt will increase, right? Anyways, let me backtrack to what we're talking about. I think I've actually stressed this point enough, right? Nnamdi Kanu, Nnamdi Kanu should be released in order to stop any type of uprising, in the country. Nnamdi Kanu should be released, and the core issue should be addressed. The core issue is poverty. Also, I want to admonish everyone here. I want to let you guys know that the problem that we're having is between the elites in Nigeria and the working class people, right? And no matter the region you go to, if you go to the south, or the southeast, or the north, working people are suffering. They are experiencing the same problem, right? There's poverty, there is economic disparity, right? There's a lot of economic disparity. For instance, if you go to Lagos State, right? If you go to Lagos, I think the core Lagos State, you will see the disparity between the core Lagos and the island, right? If you go to the island, it's pretty much like New York City, right? The houses there are so expensive, like almost really expensive that someone like me living in the United States can't even afford to rent properties there. So that and it makes me wonder, like, how could people with such wealth be living in the country where the poverty level is so like draconian, right? It gives you a picture of what's really going on in the country, right? It's the economic system, of course, capitalism, right? Capitalism creates this wealth disparity. It's kind of inbuilt in the system, right? That's why companies like Dangote, could grow so big and become a monopoly, right? It's inbuilt in the system. I think Nigeria needs to kind of try a different system, right? A system that's people oriented. I would go to the extreme to say, hey, we should try socialism, right? We should try socialism and bring in social programs, to benefit the people. We can adopt some social programs from China, from the United States of America. We can bring some of the social programs that they have there and bring it to Nigeria. You know, something like the WIC, WIC program, where you know the government, the poor people can get get some food, you know, from the state government or whatnot. We don't have stuff like that in Nigeria. You know, we need those. We need those things because the poverty there is extreme. You know, the people need, people need help, and the money, the inflation issue is actually making it worse because, the money is losing a lot of value. You know, before I think probably like 10 years ago, if you send in like 100,000 naira, you could do a lot. People over there could do a lot with it. But right now, 100,000 naira could be spent in a week, buying groceries. You know, it's pretty bad. And the thing is, people are not making that much money there. So it's a hyperinflation. You know, the hyperinflation can be dealt with by the federal government. They just need a change in the system, right? Instead of following like the World Bank model, and because like I just read the World Bank representative in Nigeria, I think his name is kind of reminds me of a Senegalese, something deal. You know, he said that the government should not change their economic policy, that they should keep going. That if they change their economic policy, it's going to create more problems for Nigeria. I kind of disagrees with that. And it kind of tells you what the, organizations like the World Bank, what their priorities are. You know, they don't really care about the ordinary people. They just want.
All right, Jefferson, thank you. I mean, Eccentric, thank you very much. Mr. Pansat, you have 5 minutes for your submission, please.
Thank you, sir. I have an appointment, so I'm going to. I had to dress up quicker so I could render my
peace.
Concluding remarks. Electricity. Did you say you have another program coming in how many hours?
No. Goodness me, Pastor. Don't want me to sleep. It's next week.
Oh, next week. All right, very well.
Goodness me. Now I know you don't love me.
No, that's okay. I don't love any man. I love beautiful babes, right?
You have beautiful babes, right?
Can
you mention some names? Can you mention some names for us, please?
No. So, on a serious note, these programs that we're having here, especially here on Dr. Damages, is very, very good as we try to solve the problem we have the country. We have to have civil discourses, and that's good. You have somebody like Dr. CM here. You have Jegun. I think Jegun contains a lot of knowledge, historically, those kind of things. Some of us spent our time in science, physics, mathematics. We don't get to showcase it. We come in this domain to where we have to be artful. We have to use fancy language, right? And our country we've become cowardly. We're a cowardly country for whatever reason. You know, it's like in those days you go and maybe your grandma give you a chicken, you come home, you tie it together. The first day you brought it wants to run away, but if you tie it down for a little bit, then it just stays there, right? It becomes your chicken that walks around. That's what we've become in Nigeria, right? Look at the state of our country. Some of these problems that we're talking about, they have one common problem. I would try to be civil. I won't talk about it a lot. Even those who are my brothers and my friends on this platform and the comment section, they don't really want rough language, the truth. They want a placebo discussion, something that doesn't cure the problem. It's placebo commentary. So I would go ahead and use a euphemism like most people are familiar with. But don't forget, Nnamdi Kanu may be your cause celeb, like they want to make it that. It's not a Nnamdi Kanu issue. I was here when Nnamdi Kanu came here and he's undergoing his activism for the entire country. And a lot of our people advise him, hey, Nigeria is not that developed and mature for that kind of thing. But he did his job. He has his own style. He's not Igbos. We have Igbos that run the gamut. Some who are one Nigerians. We have Igbos who fight for freedom for everybody. as a typical example, I'll give you an example. There's something I'm going to give you as a challenge, because a lot of people here try to create a moral equivalence between the Southeasterners and the Southwesterners. There's no moral equivalency there. Right? I love my Southwest brothers. And of course, I'm talking about the rule, not exception. We have beautiful activists from the Southwest, Dele Faratumi being one. Do you know America has not produced one Dele Faratumi, period, or Britain? We have a lot of leaders. We have a lot of good people from all tribes in Nigeria. But in the case of the Southwesterners, it's the exception, not the rule. When the Southwesterners want to do their Amotekun, you go and find me one Southeasterner that says, no, don't do your Amotekun. All of us were online. I was there in the forefront. Yes, you need your Amotekun to protect your farmers and your states. We all support them whenever they're doing anything. So that's the difference between us and the Southwesterners. From the Southeast, the reason being that, I say this, and this analogy, maybe I'm not trying to sweeten it so it doesn't rub you the rough way, right? The Southeasterners have gone through a complete metamorphosis to be a Nigerian. That includes going to war against our common tormentors, people who have already conquered the Hausas, rendered them effete, took them over, pretty much. And that's the Fulanis, who are not from our country. But I said it's Friday. I'm going to try to sugarcoat it for you the way you like a placebo, right? But I'm going to tell you, the Southeasterners have gone through a complete metamorphosis like a butterfly does. Go from an egg to a larvae to a pupa, and then emerge as a butterfly. The rest of these tribes now, this is where they don't like me telling you this, especially the minorities. They haven't done that. They didn't join the war and do the right thing to fight off these people who would have been like Switzerland by now. They just went from egg to an adult. And that's called an incomplete metamorphosis. You go from an egg to a nymph. You just look like an adult. Now, the insect that does that is called a cockroach. It's one of them. There are others that do the same thing. It's not calling anybody any names. What I'm saying, we've been through the complete metamorphosis. So when you see a Buhari come after a jackboot thug was truncated our nascent democracy, took over from our elected government, he ruled as a head of state, a military thug, killed a lot of people, ruled by decree. So he came back to run for office. This will be his fourth time. You go and look, Southeastern have voted against him the whole time. He gets single digits. However, in 2015, he came in and the Southwesterners voted for him, brought him in. And since then, our country has gone down. They conspired with Northerners and Yorubas conspired to remove our civil servants who actually went to school and have a certificate like Ngozi Konji-Iweala. And since then, if you plot the graph, X and Y, since they were able to skim out the support from government, then the country went down. They can't feed themselves. So it's not a moral equivalency. So what I'm saying, now things are getting better. Some Southwesterners are coming up, the North Westerners, some Northeasterners, some minorities. They're beginning to understand that this Biafran war was not just a war against the Igbos. It was a war to take our resources from the South, and it's being aided by Britain. Now, you have this discussion. You don't want to know how did Nnamdi Kanu get captured. It's not Buhari. It's not the Northerners. It's Britain. During the war, we weren't fighting the Northerners. We were fighting Britain, right? That's what it is. So
thank you very much.
Let's just let me land. Electricity. Let me land. I'm almost done. So what I'm saying to you is that when we have these discussions, we have to have it with a purpose, which is to tell the truth, have a purpose. That somebody say, why are we talking? Do we want our judiciary and our legislature and our executive branches merged up together like that to where there's no check and balances? Because it's a waste of time. No matter what system of governance you have, our economic system, if it's communism, if it's capitalism, if it's socialism, no matter what you have, it cannot work if everybody's going to be like a mumu there. You know the right thing to do. How can you do anything or go to an election where you know, say, after the election, then you have to go to the judiciary to determine winners and losers? That's who determines winners and losers. So it's an exercise in futility. So I'm saying a discussion about Nnamdi Kanu is a small discussion as far as I'm concerned. How do you get them out? It's small. We get them out by making the judiciary work. We get them out by facing down Sunni Muslims in the north and say, hey, look, we have to have this country be a civil place. No cheating, no deceit. Because you cannot do anything. Anyway, either we're going to be in a democratic path or we're going to have to do it by force. We cannot be cowardly the whole time and decades are going. Right? So electricity, this is particularly to you because I know that you try to cover a little topic from a major topic. It's not Nnamdi Kanu alone that's facing this plight. Like others have said, I conclude with this. I'm named El Zazaki, he went through the same thing. CM had tried to point out minutia. There are differences, obviously, but that's always going to be there, even here in the United States.
Thank you
Black
very much.
Whites at whites when it comes to the judiciary, but at least there are fundamental things. If you're wrong at the lower court, you could appeal your case. You have that hope as a common man. If a judge or a jury does something against you, then you could go to another level and go to another level. But if you have it to where a country has exclusive laws and they've come with a mindset to conquer us, I'm sorry to disappoint you. At some point, we're going to have to go back to war here. Let me just tell you right now, so you know that. I'm saying here, I'm here on TV. I'm saying if you don't do the right thing in a democratic setting, then we're gonna show you that there are many Igbos. I think in my way of count, we have over 100 million Igbos. So it's not the same thing like say you electricity with your tribe there. Maybe you get a few thousand here and there, right? So you
thank you.
small. I'm gonna think big here.
Your 5 minutes is up. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Jago, the floor is yours. Thank you. Jago, you're muted.
Thank you very much, Electricity and people of the panel, people of the comment section. My closing remarks go like this in concern of this topic. Bring down Tinubu, bring down the system, free Nnamdi Kanu, and we're starting again. Free Nnamdi Kanu, I don't end up.
Thank you very much. Gentlemen and those in the comment section, I would like to thank you for...
That's unbelievable. This is what they need a certificate for that. I never seen you do that.
Thank you very much. And those of you in the comment section, I would like to say a big thank you for joining tonight's broadcast. Next week, we'll be talking about the Sharia. I don't know which day, but most likely it's going to be Friday. We're going to be talking about the Sharia enshrining the Constitution. Why is it enshrining it? What is its implication on judiciary? What is the implication on the legislative arm? And what is the implication on the citizens at large? We will look at this. Should it be there in the first place? Given to the fact that that is not the only religion we have in Nigeria, or whatever we want to call it, believe we have in Nigeria. Should the Bible also be enshrined in the Constitution? Should the Abbalist belief also be enshrined in the Constitution?
No, I think it's a very, very dicey subject, to be honest with you.
No,
but at the end of the day, I think what binds all humanity is the fact that we all have basic common sense.
Electricity.
If we don't have common sense, no matter how the kind of laws we have, it's going to be as useless as ever. I'm sorry to say.
Electricity. You know, this thing you said now reminded me of something. The former Chief Judge, Tanku, the one that succeeded Onogen. The guy did not attend, was not called to the bar. And how did he make it? Because as a lawyer, you first of all you read law, get called to the bar, then you can become a magistrate. From there, you move, or you practice all your life. But even if you want to be from magistrate to judge to all these things, they say 5 years post call. Say 5 years, you must have practiced law for about 5 years before you can now become a magistrate. So he was not called to the bar at all, whether in England or in Nigeria, anywhere. But he became a judge and became a chief justice of Nigeria and was sitting on civil cases.
And let me even shock you again. I'm sorry to say this, but let me even shock you again. Another issue I also facing is
don't give us time to, because the issue he raised right now is very important. I was on another panel, and one man went to most show, right? And we'll get to that point because this is very important, right? That time come, I'm glad he made. I kept trying to remember his name. He succeeded on again. Onaga was removed illegally. You need 2/3 of a supermajority in the Senate to remove the Chief Justice, right? So Buhari suspended him. So what I'm saying is that, yes, Obasanjo allowed them to insert Sharia laws for customary reasons in, cultural courts. That's okay, but the jurists, though, as they go move up the ladder, then a judge in a Sharia court who came in just from Islamic training, studying their Islamic thing there, right? There's no physics, there's no chemistry. Because in the Western jurisprudence, before you become a lawyer, you're gonna go through some electives. You're gonna know some things about other cultures. You're gonna know a lot of things. You attend law school. So these people, as they come in from Sharia, right? So the judges is what I'm not fighting the Sharia court itself, but when the judges then go into the federal system nominated by their governors, they're now in the federal system. They are still Sharia judges, even though the courtrooms they go to administer, it's not a Sharia court. So they bring their prejudices when they come up there. That's why people are not being released. You have to have a judiciary that believes in the secular constitution of the country. You have to. There's nothing. If you have nothing else, you have to have a good judiciary. We don't have one. So when you have a Peter Obi or Atiku Abubakar bring their evidence from INEC elections, INEC itself, which is a Muslim INEC, the presidency is a Muslim thing, and you have them bring it up there, and they just disgrace them. We are in a state of war. Let's be honest about it. Biafrans, Igbos, we're in a state of war with Nigeria because, like somebody said, the 3 R's is not been implemented. So when these people go to court, they're looking at the enemies. That's exactly what they're looking at, the enemies. It's like here, you have to be tried by a jury of your peers, or at the minimum, when you have a judge, the judge has to be fair.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right, so sorry about that. So, just like what you said, let me say this right now. I know you guys did your part.
Thank you, gentlemen.
You have a lovely night. He said something about the
judge. The guy land now.
If you can, electricity, allow them to go to the background now, if you can.
All right, okay, sorry, please.
We're calling it today. I'll give you 30 seconds, Jefferson, to land.
Okay, good. So basically, what we need to understand here, yes, I know the judiciary has an issue, but again, I feel we are not respecting our institutions on the collective. It's not just the judiciary. In fact, it involves all aspects of the sector, everything from the engineering, medicine, everything. We need to have a standard, and we need to uphold the standard. Because what happens is when people are called into power, they don't seem to uphold what they stand for. And that is an issue. I think we need to really work on that. So it has to do with some level of reorientation. Until that is done, no matter what reform we are going to do, it's not going to work. Let me stop there.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. You have a lovely night. Have a lovely day, and God bless you.
Me too.
Thank you so much for watching. Thank you. Have you subscribed? Yes, you. Have you subscribed? Yeah, before you go, click. It's free. Click. Just that's it. Have you subscribed? You're laughing. Have you subscribed? Have you subscribed? Thank you. Hey, madam, thank you so much. I can see you. We have to get to 100,000 subscribers. By the end of the year, how are we going to do that if you don't subscribe? Yes, you're about to click off. Why? Have you subscribed? It's free. If you don't, ask your son, ask your daughter how to. Just one click. Thank you. I see you. Aha. Thank you very much. I'll see you tomorrow.
Arise, O compatriots, Nigeria's call obey, to serve our fatherland with love and strength and faith. The labor of our heroes past shall never be in vain. To serve with heart and might, one nation bound in freedom, peace and unity. Hey, that's so. Oh yeah. Arise, O compatriots, Nigeria call obey, to serve our fatherland with love and strength and faith. The labor of our heroes past shall never be in vain. To serve with heart and might, one nation bound